What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday night edition of The Awakening World. You know, this show is something that I love to do, and one of the favorite things about doing this show are the remarkable people that we get to have on as guests. And I also want to appreciate the remarkable people in our audience. And of course, right in the Zoom room, I see so many people that I know and love, our regular Global Peace Tribe family. Tonight, we have an incredible group of people with us. And the reason that is happening is because of our co-host. I love co-hosting with Jennifer Hill. She just always brings with her so much positive energy, and she also brings amazing people. And so, Jennifer, I'd love for you to tell our audience a little bit about tonight's topic, which you chose and which is a great topic, and a little bit about the people who are going to be joining us.
Thank you so much, Scott. It's always a pleasure to be here, no matter what time it is or where I'm here to be able to do this show with you. I think I've done it from LA, Mexico. Tonight, I'm coming to you live from Portugal. And the reason I always love to be a part of this incredible community of global seekers is that we're all here to pulse the planet with love. And particularly at times like this, more than ever, the more love, the more strength, and the more compassion that we can cultivate for one another, and most importantly, for ourselves, is what's going to help us upshift, as our dear friend Ervin Laszlo always says, upshift the planet. So welcome, everyone. Please put in the chat where it is you're joining us from. I see many of you have already done that. And tonight we have a very special show in store for you on resilience. Right now, no matter where you're joining in the world, we all have opportunities where we might be triggered or struggling emotionally, mentally, physically with what's happening in our own personal lives and on the global scale. So we have put together tonight for you a group of esteemed thought leaders, coaches, scientists, and I'd love to start by just bring them on screen one by one for a moment. Our first speaker of the evening is going to be Dr. Julie Kroll of the Dr. Julie Show, who is also an evolutionary leader. In fact, a lot of us are evolutionary leaders. So you'll be hearing from Julie here in a couple of minutes. And of course, another evolutionary leader, Teresa Collins. Teresa, who is the creator of the Global Coherence Pulse, which just happened earlier today. It happens the third Saturday of every month. And while I'm on the pulse, we can't skip Dr. Roland McCready, who is the director of research at HeartMath, who also helps us with planning the pulse. So you'll be hearing from some of the latest science on coherence and on resilience from Roland in a little bit. And while we're talking science, it turns out these two gentlemen know each other. We have Dr. Paul Zak here with us today, who is one of the most cited scientists in the entire world, who will be sharing with us a little bit about his app Best Tuesdays Ever, as well as some additional tools on resilience. And last but not least, we have a couple more. We'll see if Melissa's here yet, but we also have Brandon Maslin, birthday boy. It was his birthday last week, who is a dear friend, a advocate for women around the world, for his coaching clients. He was my old co-host on a show. If you ever want to look up and hear some really fun shows, Brandon and I for about a year did a show together called Get Yourself the Job. And he is just one of the most compassionate human beings, best fathers, incredible humans that I know. So it's such a pleasure to have you here. And Scott, I don't know if Melissa's on screen with us yet now, or if she's not here yet. I know she was joining us a little bit late. So if
I
Melissa,
don't see her. Yeah, I don't see her camera on at least. So,
so
but
and
we,
the
but we
final
can't.
person who will
Yeah.
be joining us is Melissa Bernstein from the speaker side of things. And she is the former CEO of Melissa and Doug Toys. Many of you have probably had children who have played with her toys. I know my nieces, my nephews do. They're these incredible toys. And then she'll be sharing from her journey, Lifelines, which is her new endeavor that she is putting her heart and soul into. And of course, our musical guests, because we cannot do this without the beautiful heart-focused space that our musical guests bring. So we have, of course, Omashar. Where's Omashar? Where are you, my friend? He is the co-producer of this show. We cannot do any of it without him and the house band. So thank you, Omashar, for the beauty of the music and the heart and the soul that you bring to this show. And I just met for the first time ever today Nina Gray. Wow, you guys are in for an extraordinary treat. Her voice is like hearing angels sing. So Nina will be doing a couple of sets for us. And welcome to everybody. We have Canada, we have California, we have people from all around the world, Oregon joining us. So without further ado, Scott, I'll turn it back over to you, my friend.
Great. Well, we always like to start with music. But I think are we gonna start with Julie, or are we gonna go to Omashar? Because
Let's
agenda,
let's start with a little music and then we'll go to Julie right after.
fantastic. Here's the man, and most of you know what to do. Get up. I see that Eleanor Joy and Ian are here, so I know that there's gonna be some dancing. And we've got a little echo going on there. Woo! We just went to Egypt.
We are in Egypt. Yes. Are we good? No, we're not. This one's there. This is here. Okay. Please show me how to reach you. Strip me down. Let go my mind. I was naked and blind. Finding it harder holding on to what's gone. And there's a future. What if we never get that far? I know it may sound crazy if I say not much is real. Tell me inside, how do you feel? This is the time to break the mold of the old and dysfunctional way we have lived our lives so far. How much longer can we hold on to that which tears us apart? So free up your mind, open your heart. No longer can we hold on to that which tears us apart. So free up your mind, open your heart. Finally free from self-disguise, I rise from the ashes of the me I used to know. You know that I am a dreamer, and I would like you to know and see that I am dreaming a new reality. Please show me how to reach you. Strip me down, let go my mind. I am naked and blind.
Let's all give a big twinkle to Omar Shar for that beautiful opening song. Thank you, my beloved friend.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah, I love that one. And a reminder that we can all support Omar Shar and learn all about him by going to his website. And it's easy to remember. It's his name, omarshar.com. And that's where you can learn a little bit more about our brother. And ideally go to Bandcamp. That is the best place to get his albums. And he's become such an incredible part of the show. And I know there are a lot of people that have bought his albums go, oh my God, I love listening to Omar Shar music all week long because it reminds me of what I saw and heard on The Awakening World. And his music is amazing.
Thank
And
you.
I'll be back with another song a little bit later on in the show. Thank you. All right. To introduce the great Dr. Julie Kroll, someone I have so much respect for, I'm going to turn back to our co-host, Jennifer Hill.
Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you, Omar Shar, for starting this night off so beautifully and opening our hearts with your music. So we have Dr. Julie Kroll, who is here joining us today. She is a fellow evolutionary leader, and she is the host of the Dr. Julie Show. She is also an award-winning author and one of the biggest, I would say, advocates for coherence that I have ever met in the world. Dr. Julie, it is so great to have you here with us.
Thank you. Well, that's a compliment because I'll take third place tonight behind Roland and Teresa. So that's a big shoes to fill there. So yeah, and I hope they both will presence coherence and talk about coherence because they are the bomb. I'm gonna let them be number one and number two. I don't care which one goes first. So
well, it's Coherence Love Fest. And the important thing is that coherence leads to resilience, Julie. And you are and that's what I mean by an advocate. Any meeting you and I have ever been in together, even just how you post something on social media, you just feel this sense of unity and oneness and welcoming in your speaking, in your shows, in your writing. And I really just wanted to start off by acknowledging you and, just saying how grateful I am for what you bring to the space with that.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Yeah, I think that the practice of coherence is so essential in today's world, and it's at the top of the list for resilience and for health and for so many other ways to just really reach our fullest potential. We've got to come into the practice of coherence. So thanks for acknowledging that. And yeah, unity awareness, unity consciousness.
So let's talk about that right now, Julie. We're in this time where some people, I can imagine, might be feeling challenged right now by the circumstances in their own lives, let alone the greater world at large. What are some of your recommendations or your favorite tools that help you to cultivate coherence and resilience in your own life?
Oh, thanks for asking. I was thinking about this topic, resilience, when you asked me some 30 years ago as a psychotherapist. I remember when No Child Left Behind came out, and a lot of the training for us when we were looking at at-risk kids, a lot of the training was focused around the recent research. And back then, and I would hypothesize even now, 30 years later, the number one quality that created resilience for at-risk kids, and they used the ACE studies, and then they met up with all kinds of things, competence, confidence. I mean, there's a lot of different traits, but the number one is connection. Connection. And Alaska did a really nice job with research in the kids at school when they're looking at-risk kids. And even just the kids being able to see a familiar face in the lunch line and then call them by name, see the janitor in the hallway and say, "Hey, buddy, how's your mom? Is she feeling better today?" Just the smallest of interactions of connection helped the children, helped the kids with resilience. I think that's one of our best tools for today is connection. If it's my hypothesis, and I'll tell you a few other things, but I think connection is essential, and we've got to look for ways to connect, stay connected, build cooperative communities that care for all life, and be together during these times, whether that's a connection with the divine, a connection with your community of faith, the connection with your neighbors, your family, your friends, a connection with your body, your heart. There's all ways that we can connect.
I want to ask something about that, Julie. I like to feel into the field and the questions that are on people's minds. And as you were sharing that, I had this image in my mind drop in of a book by Don Miguel Ruiz called Mastery of Love. And in the book, one of the things I remember him sharing is he says, the reason we often don't connect, don't love, don't deeply interact with one another is because we are all these people walking around, and yet we're covered from head to toe, and this is a metaphor, in third-degree burns. So that way, if you get too close to us and you try to touch us, then we recoil because there has been so much pain. So how can we cultivate connection when so many people maybe didn't have that growing up? Maybe they were bullied. Maybe they went through some challenges. Maybe they were bullied as an adult in the workplace. How can we create a safe space for ourselves and others and begin to cultivate that within ourselves so we can extend that same grace to another?
Wow. What a big question, and a profound example that I think is an essential one to look at when we're looking at healing and trauma and wounds, and that's another piece I'll bring in a second that I think is essential when we look at what's happening on the planet. Even when we feel hurt, if we're still enough, and if we are quiet and breathe into our heart space, there will be a yearning for connection. It will be there. And we can begin in safe, small ways, safe, small steps of knowing who that is that's safe to connect. We don't have to go out and be an extrovert and connect with hundreds of people. Some people need to connect with one or two or three people a mile deep, and others need 100 that are an inch deep, you know? So it's really important to just look around, but listen to your heart. Trust your heart, that we all have that yearning for connection. And a lot of times that yearning starts with that deep, deep spiritual disconnection that we've had. And so begin there.
Yes, beautiful. And I do want to just acknowledge Laura in the chat just lost a friend right now. And, you know, we're seeing lots of beautiful love. And one of the greatest things that we can do is be loving and kind and hold space for people. Because you know what? One person's amazing day might be somebody else's lowest point. And actually, Brandon Maslin, who we're going to have on later today, I remember very clearly there was a podcast we had done years ago. And one of the people who was on the podcast, I loved what she said. She ran a global organization, she had teams around the world. And before she would start any team meeting, she would have people put in the chat 0 to 5. You didn't have to explain it, but it just told people where you were at emotionally. Because personally, I've seen it. That's where I think the highest amount of friction comes from, is we might think somebody's being obtuse or difficult or challenging, when in reality, we have no idea the loss, the hurt, the sadness somebody might be going through. So now I love to do that, is just 0 to 5. You put in the chat. Everybody can even do it right now. You know, 5 being, I got this, I slept well, I'm feeling resilient. And 0 might be, I just lost a dear friend and I'm challenged right now. And we can then hold space for one another and help to uplift the field and just send love where love is most needed, right?
Yeah. Amen. You know, compassion is another one of those essential tools for resilience. And a lot of times we're in a world that's trying to judge and other everything. I mean, if it's not what we had with vaccine, non-vaccine, we're now doing it with the Middle East and the different things that are playing out in this global arena here, and finding compassion for everyone. Like, stop looking to say, what side are they on? Or, boy, they need to change, and really come into the place of heart and compassion. I think it's essential.
Yeah, I'm reminded right now to share, Julie, a 7-person exercise was introduced to me years ago. I was part of this group where we would meet in Monterey, California every 6 weeks. And it was during the really activating election that many people may remember between Donald and Hillary. And so many people were on this side or that side of this. And this exercise was introduced. And I think this is a very timely exercise to share right now. And it was called the 7-person exercise. And your goal over the next 6 months would be to listen for the greatness, for happiness, for joy, for everything you could ever wish for another human being, for 5 people you know. It might be your friends, your spouses, your colleagues, your children. And your only goal is to be in the listening of the field for those people's greatness. Then you choose your number 6 person. Your number 6 person is the person who you might not personally know, but maybe they're a celebrity or figure, an author, or somebody you really admire. And you listen with every ounce of your being in their media and their writing for their greatness. And finally, there's the number 7 person. And the number 7 person is the person who you might not wish anything good for, right? they might be the opposite political party. They might be the person who you disagree entirely, viscerally with their values. And could you listen for their greatness by finding one thing you have in common with them? Are they a mother? Are they a daughter? Are they a brother? Are they a human? Do they breathe like you? And I think that's just a beautiful thing that we can all pull into this time, is how can we find that thread of grace, that thread of oneness that unites every one of us, no matter what our political views, no matter how we feel about what's happening in the Middle East. How could we connect to another human being on that level?
Yeah. You know, in my career, I've had the blessing and honor to sit down with so many people just individually, one-on-one. And I have never not fell in love with the person sitting across from me. It didn't matter race, religion, political party. When you really listen to someone, when you sit across as human beings and listen to their heart, you fall in love. And I did over and over and over again.
I love that, to fall in love with everyone you meet. And somebody recently told me, could you leave every person better than you found them, out of your listening, out of your care, out of your consciousness? So, Dr. Julie, what's one more tip that you would love to share today with everybody before we move into today's meditation?
I would just share this important, I think this is an essential tip for everyone here, and everyone in this audience probably gets it and can help their neighbors and friends do this. But when you're feeling stressed, besides practicing coherence, which I hope you'll hear later, widen your aperture of the lens that you're looking out of. It's really important for us to really hold this cosmic perspective of the evolution of consciousness on the planet and what's happening. We're going through a massive evolutionary process, a healing. And even when you look at the stages of healing wounds and fractures, you know, the first stage is this inflammatory stage, and it feels like that's where we're at. But really, we've already moved into the reparative stage. When there's a fracture or a wound, the second stage, whether you say it's 1 or 2 stages, it's repairing tissue, repairing bone, rebuilding. And then the third and final stage is that remodeling and strengthening of tissue and bone. We are already creating amazing things on the planet in that stage too. They're happening on every continent and every country. So try to get that bird's eye view, that cosmic view if you can. And remember that all of this is, we are being called forward with the designing intelligence of the universe. And that intelligence has our back. So try to widen the lens, the aperture of your lens, like as wide as you can, because whenever we lower it, when we go into stress, literally our vision narrows and we don't see the whole picture. So take a breath and remember to come into that place of coherence so that you can widen that aperture and see a bigger picture. And then things don't jerk us around and you know, it can look really scary out there. I turn off the news too. Just don't turn off the news, turn off social media, and come into the connection field, you know, and find love and connection with people who are here to do the work, because there's a lot of amazing things happening on the planet. Many people just don't see it.
Yeah, I love that. One of my practices on a Saturday, Julie, and I invite anybody else to try this if it inspires you, is spend time in silence with your cell phone off. Last weekend, I did it for 8 or 9 hours. Today, I was in silence for 5 hours with my cell phone off. And talk about resilience, man. Whew, that recharges your battery, let me tell you. So,
Yeah.
Julie, it's such a pleasure to have you here with us. Scott, can we pull up Julie's website if you don't mind, just to promote all the
Yeah, I just
she's
want to acknowledge Julie has been doing the Dr. Julie show for 10 years. And I can appreciate that's a lot. And she has amazing people, a lot of people that you've seen on the Awakening World, a lot of people that I don't know. So I've got to go and start watching some of these shows with people that I haven't met yet. The Spiritual Lives of Scientists, I do not know Marjorie. And then people like JG and Desiree, I was with them in Las Vegas last week. But look at all these wonderful people that she does the Dr. Julie show with. So it's easy to find her. She's at drjuliepodcast.com, drjuliepodcast.com. And Julie, I'd love for you to also tell us a little bit about this community open house celebrating abundance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just let me say briefly about the podcast. The second season of Main Street Mystics is coming on, which is really exciting. So we've got some really fun people coming in for our Main Street Mystic series. So thank you. On next Monday, the 27th of November, in the Connection Field, you can come to the Connection Field. It's free. It's an online platform, much like a social media platform. A lot of media, a lot of beautiful offerings there. We are hosting a community open house celebrating abundance. And we're going to talk about what that means, prosperity and generosity and new ways of giving and being in community with one another. November 27th, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, in the Connection Field. You'll see the invitation there and get a Zoom link. And it's just a beautiful way to be together in this season of generosity and giving, and be in that place of really receiving in spiritual ways that we all need at this time on the planet.
Beautiful. Julie,
Thanks.
thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for all the work that you do and just bringing so much inspiration to our Global Peace Tribe. I'm so touched when I hear you speak. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah,
Thank you both.
absolutely. And I want to welcome all the people that are swinging in, watching us. Every night, 7 nights a week, we offer a free meditation. This is in collaboration with the Twin Ray community and the Global Peace Tribe kind of coming together. And tonight, leading our meditation is our co-host, Jennifer Hill. So thank you, Jennifer, for volunteering to do that. Thank you for putting together such a wonderful show. And I'm going to turn it over to you to take us wherever you want to take us.
Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you to all of you out there who are watching with us live here in the Zoom room, and those of you who are streaming on one of the many channels that we do in collaboration with the Sign Network. Thank you to John Raymer and the team over there as well. And I'd like to use this opportunity to have us all go within and to connect. So begin with our eyes shut, uncrossing our arms and our legs. And as we're about to go into this meditation, I invite you to check with your heart's intuition and to choose an intention for this meditation. My intention is going to be peace, and I invite you to see whatever your soul is calling for. Maybe it is grace or strength or resilience. See whatever naturally comes into your heart in this moment. Let's begin with a little bit of heart-focused breathing. As we begin to focus our attention in the area of our hearts, imagining that our breath is flowing in and out, right through the center of our heart or chest. Breathing a little slower and a little deeper than usual. Find an easy rhythm that's comfortable for you. As you continue breathing in and out through the center of your heart or chest, I invite you to breathe in that intention that you set. Breathing in that peace or gratitude, grace, kindness, compassion, whatever your intention is. As you breathe that into your heart, allow it to fill up your whole body, lighting up every cell in your body with your intention. As you breathe out, radiating that intention out to everyone and everything around you. Continuing to breathe slowly, easily, and effortlessly in and out through the center of your heart or chest. I now invite us to visualize a bubble of white light above our crown, right above our head. Imagine that this radiant bubble of white light is dropping down in a waterfall down the backside of your body and the backside of your chakras, down the backside of your crown chakra, and your third eye, and your throat, softly falling down the backside of your heart chakra and your solar plexus, and your sacral chakra and your root, allowing yourself to be warmed and comforted by this white light cascading down the backside of your body. As this white light, allow it to continue to travel down your legs, your upper legs, your knees, your lower legs, your feet, Feeling your feet on the floor as that white light goes down, 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 down into the center of the earth. The center of the earth, connect with every other ball of light, with every other person who is here streaming with us live now or in the future. And imagine enhancing the resilience, the radiance, the intention, whatever intention it was that you selected with your heart as we began. And I invite every one of us to fill up at the center of the earth, reconnecting, imagining all of our light connecting from wherever we are tuning in from. And imagine that beautiful white light connecting like the mycelium network of the trees and reaching out to the light of every other human being who is here with us and radiating it out to every other human being on the planet right now who you feel might be being called to receive your intention of peace, your intention of love, of gratitude, of strength, of resilience. Visualizing this beautiful ball of white light glowing brightly right at the center of the earth as it is warming the earth from the inside out with our intentions of love and kindness and grace and strength and peace. Now I invite you to draw your energy back into your ball of light and allowing it to shoot up your legs, your lower feet, invigorating your whole body, lighting up the cells in your legs as it shoots up through your upper legs, through your root area, through your sacral area, just lighting up every area that it touches, through your solar plexus, through your heart, lighting up your throat and allowing you to speak the words of truth that you need, lighting up your third eye and your crown. And again, dropping down through the crown, down through the third eye, down into the heart, holding your intention there. Now I invite us to radiate a little peace, a little love, a little strength. Let's all allow a few deep, conscious, loving breaths in and out, right through the center of our heart. And with every inhalation, allowing the light of our intention to light up our hearts and light up our bodies and every cell of our being. And with every exhalation, pulsing and radiating the field with your intention of peace, of love, of gratitude, of whatever resonates with your heart. Let's do this 3 more times. Allowing a deep, conscious, loving breath in through the center of our heart or chest, as though the heart itself is doing the breathing. And again, pulsing the room that you're in with love, pulsing the city that you're in with love, pulsing the country or the world with love. I'm doing this 2 more times, breathing in, allowing the light that we're breathing in to illuminate every cell of our being. And then radiating out peace from our hearts, sending peace out to the furthest reaches of the world, to every soul, every human being, anybody you're holding in your thoughts and prayers. On this last inhalation, I invite you to put your right hand on your heart and to breathe in compassion, allowing a deep, conscious, loving breath, allowing the compassion to light up the cells of your body so that you are tingling with the feelings of love and compassion. Feeling it as you give it to yourself. And then turning our hands outward and radiating this compassion to every human being on the planet. When you're ready, you can Begin to allow your breathing to return to normal and wiggle your fingers and your toes. And come back with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's beautiful. Let's just give people a minute to kind of come back into their bodies. And it's so precious that we can gather together from all around the world, meeting the beautiful people that Jennifer's bringing us tonight and drop into this field of consciousness. And thank you again, Jennifer. And when you're ready, you can introduce our next presenter.
Thank you, Scott. And thank you for everybody for trusting that space and just sharing your heart with every one of us. So next we have a dear friend. Everybody here is a dear friend. People tease me, they're like, Jen, you have so many dear friends. And I just truly mean it, because if you're in my life, you are a dear friend. And I just cherish every one of you. And this person, Melissa Bernstein, who it's her birthday tomorrow, we're going to give her a little extra love, a little birthday love. Sending her a little birthday juice. So it's the sweetest, most fabulous birthday she's ever had. Melissa and I connected. It was almost a year ago exactly. She was referred to me by somebody I had done a podcast with, and she said, oh, you have to meet Melissa. So Melissa was the CEO of Melissa and Doug Toys, that she co-created that company with her husband over 2 decades ago, and brought smiles to the lives of children and families around the world, uplifting, touching, and inspiring them with her creativity and genius and imagination in creating these toys. And yet what most people don't know about Melissa is her own struggles that she went through, as so many of us do. You know, you see somebody who seems to have it all. She has 6 beautiful children, a successful company. And yet when we pull back the curtain, we are all dealing with struggles at some level. And Melissa's new project, Lifelines, is uplifting and inspiring people around the world. I've referred countless people to her book, and every person I share with about her book just tells me how it's touched and transformed their lives. Melissa, we love you, my friend. Thank you so much for being here on the late Saturday night before your birthday. And I'm just so grateful to have you here with us in this field. Oh, I think you're muted, my friend. Yeah, we'll go ahead and unmute you. Hold on one second.
So sorry, the host muted me. So I had to, I unmuted myself.
There we go, my friend. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for being with us. I love you. I adore you. She is one of the most incredible human beings I've ever met, and just so happy you're here with us.
I would do anything for you, and I am so honored to be here tonight. Thank you. Yeah, it's hard to be after your meditation though, because I'm like, woo, sort of let it all out.
Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Well, Melissa, tell everybody a little bit about your story. I mean, you have inspired. I've introduced Melissa to so many people since we connected. You know how you meet somebody and you're like, oh, I just want to gift this person to everybody I've ever met. That's how I feel about Melissa. Share a little bit about your journey and about what you're doing with Lifelines, because I think it's such important work that you're doing in the world right now.
Sure. So I think, like so many people who are creative souls, many of us tend to hide a lot of darkness. And I would say I always, and I think that's what you and I shared from our very first conversation, that we both felt sort of odd growing up and that we didn't belong, and that our creativity made us weird. And it is now we know it's our blurs, right? Our blessing and our curse. But when we were young and just wanted to fit in, it was very stigmatizing. And I think I always felt like a loner and hid a lot of the darkness. I felt really deep, dark feelings of sort of meaninglessness and nihilistic thoughts that I really was told very early on, you don't show to the world. So like many of us, I hid my truth beneath a very shiny facade, and really spent my life, trying to be perfect in so many ways. And that really took me through middle age, and very much an achiever, creating and amassing lots of material riches, and creating lots of cool things too. But I think when I reached middle age, sort of that facade that had served me well, but had been very exhausting, started to crack. And that's when I went on this journey. For the first time ever, I stopped racing outward and performing for validation, and finally decided it took a lot of courage to stop and to finally make that journey inward. And was the beginning of Lifelines.
Mm. Yeah, when you and I first spoke, Melissa, I remember us both sharing, sometimes somebody looks shiny on the outside. We're like, oh, you got it all together. And in fact, will you share, there was a beautiful analogy you told me with the toys one day, where you saw your toys on the shelf and how that was analogous with your life. Do you remember telling me that?
Yes. Yeah, I started to feel as inauthentic as one of my toys, like I was in this shiny package with a pretty logo on a shelf with beautiful lights right on it, when really the truth of what went into making that toy, which was a whole lot of emotion and a lot of darkness, was hidden under that shiny package. And I think I felt most of my life, although I did find so much joy in creating, and it definitely was a channel for me to express, turn that chaos into tangible form. I was hiding my own personal truth behind a product. And I finally wanted to share myself, my own voice with others. And I think that connection, and you're part of that. I think I believed that I was okay being alone and I didn't need anyone else. And that was one of my biggest misperceptions, that I didn't need anyone, that I was fine being on an island by myself. But the truth was, I was really, really lonely, and I didn't have those deep, beautiful connections that I felt accepted me unconditionally. And I think this next chapter has been the first time that I've been able to forge true relationships, not through a product, not through my creative output, but through me and my own voice. And that has been one of the greatest gifts of my life. And I think has transformed me more than anything, feeling that I finally have this group of people, including you. You're definitely one of who I consider a very small group of precious gems, who I really don't have to be anyone other than my authentic self with. And that's something that I wish so many of us would be able to experience earlier, than middle age.
Oh, I so deeply resonate with that. How many of us can feel that way, that we felt like I can't be myself at some point or another in our life? That word facade, Melissa, that you use resonates so strongly with me. It was my favorite word for about 2 decades, because I just didn't know how to be with people. And it's so scary. You're so afraid of revealing yourself for fear of judgment, for fear of, you're just not going to survive it. Like, God forbid, you would show a little bit of yourself, and, you're a young person and somebody judges you or makes fun of you. And then you cover up a little bit more of your light. One of my favorite analogies from Kabbalah is they say that it's like we're all these beautiful light bulbs, right? And we come into the world shining, illuminated, glowing, and then something happens and we cover that light bulb with a little bit of dark cellophane paper. And then something else happens and we cover a little bit more of our light. And by the time we get to where we're at in life, we are then undoing and working on peeling back all of those layers that we've allowed to cloud and muddy our light. And it's only now that we have this opportunity to step into this beautiful light, yes, and reveal what was innately us all along.
Yes. And I think one of the other biggest misperceptions I had was that going inward was indulgent and selfish, and that I had to be external and extrinsic and serve others before I even thought of myself. I wasn't even on the list, right? It was serve others. Don't ever serve yourself. Don't think of yourself. Deprive yourself and serve others. And that really ended up making me a martyr, which is someone who thinks they're serving others selflessly, but actually is developing a really deep, bitter undercurrent of resentment. And I couldn't believe it when I realized that, like, I had actually served really selfishly. I thought it was selflessly, but because I didn't serve myself And because I was so empty and bereft myself, that I couldn't even remotely feel true empathy for others. So part of my journey, it was so difficult, and I'm still on it, is to learn how to like myself and actually be okay with exactly who I am, despite the fact that I am imperfect and flawed and make mistakes. And that's been my hardest, I'd say the hardest part of everything I've had to work on. But the more I've begun to accept myself, allow what I'm feeling, and honor myself, it's transformed my relationships, and I've developed so much more genuine empathy for others in their imperfectness because I've begun to accept my own.
Yeah. I think you hit on such a beautiful nail there. One of the greatest things from a resilience or compassion standpoint that any of us can do is to give it to ourselves first. I will never be able to give you something I don't have for myself. You know, if you only have what you have to give and you haven't given yourself self-compassion, you're never going to be able to extend it to somebody else.
But nobody teaches you that. In fact, my family was a bunch of like martyrs. You know, I was never taught, like, take care of yourself, like indulge yourself, treat yourself kindly. Never. I was taught, like, don't think of yourself, right? Just look externally and serve until you can serve no more, because you really don't matter. So I think, you know, it was really reframing something and trying now to be a lesson to my own kids, because I realized in doing that, I was giving my kids a really poor example of how to be as well. And I don't want them to become martyrs. I don't want them to not, you know, learn to care about and indulge themselves and treat themselves with love. So I now have to really be the example I want them to follow, which is the only way I can do it for myself. You know, I know that, wait, I have to do this for myself so that especially I have 4 daughters and 2 sons, especially, you know, I want my daughters to really be able to care about themselves.
Thank you so much, Melissa. So we've had with us today Melissa Bernstein, creator of Melissa and Doug Toys, along with her incredible husband, Doug, and now the founder of Lifelines. You know, Melissa, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And what's one thing from Lifelines you'd love to share with our audience before we go to your website?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, I think my biggest epiphany in starting Lifelines is that we hold the power within us to interrupt our stress response and activate a state of calm and joy. You know, being one of those creative, ruminating introverts, I tend to get stuck in my head, like so many of us do. And I realized one day, after stress relief had become so stressful because I was trying to cognitively talk myself out of thinking every moment of every day, like, stop thinking those dark things, you know, stop being so stressed, stop being so reactive, that I realized that actually when I just allow my senses to work their magic and I allow myself to be out in nature, this is my backyard, I allow myself to sort of unleash the power of my senses, I immediately untether from those thoughts. So that is the essence of Lifelines, that when we unleash our senses and immerse them in delightful things, they are the portal to the present moment and coming back home. And we have a practice and we've created tools so that, but the truth is you don't need the tools. You really just need to go out in nature and experience the magnificence of nature, and you will immediately, without having to do anything, you will untether from the past and the future and come back home.
Beautiful. Well, Scott has pulled up your website there. Again, it's
Thank you.
lifelines.com. You can also find the book Lifelines, which is an inspirational, true story. Melissa sharing from her heart, her journey. So I love you, my friend. Happy birthdays, Scott.
Thanks, Scott. I'm glad to meet you.
Before you dash off, I want to read some of the wonderful comments coming in from our viewers. Scotty Satori says, Melissa, thank you. Wow. It also took me years to learn this lesson. Dietrich writes, I was strongly ingrained through religious dogma that thinking well of myself was a sin of vanity.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
So
Right?
I came from a Jewish grandma who talked about the Kenahura, which is the evil eye. If you look kindly on yourself, you will be aspersions will be cast on you, and you will be like get the evil eye. Which so I always was like looking for that evil eye. I still am, and cowering, like I can't ever, have anything good happen to me, because then this bad force will
Right.
reign. Yeah. So I'm
Well,
with you
there's a lot of wonderful comments coming in, including people love your toys. Melissa and Doug.
there. Thank you for your support. We appreciate that. Thank you.
There's one other thing. I'm really reminded of what my mentor, Marshall Rosenberg, used to say, which is to differentiate between being selfish and self-love.
Mhm.
And as we cultivate authentic self-love, what always happens is we want to be of service to others, because then we know that the greatest joy in life is being of service to others. But when we don't have enough of that foundation, that's actually when we do behave in a selfish way, because there's like it's like a hole in the vase. No matter how much water goes in, it just pours out. So healthy self-love, healthy self-esteem is what makes us balanced and whole. And then we automatically want to go out and be of service to others.
Yes. Couldn't be better said.
Well, that's Marshall Rosenberg that I'm channeling for a moment here. So,
Yes.
Melissa, thank you so much for the wonderful work you're doing. Thank you for creating lifelines and
It's
all
my
those little beautiful, happy, healthy toys. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here, everyone. Thank you so much.
Love you, Melissa. Have a beautiful birthday, and thank you for joining us so late. It's late her time on the East Coast.
Oh,
So big
it's
hug,
it's my pleasure.
and we love and appreciate you, my friend. All right. Well, up next, we have the unmatchable Dr. Roland McCready from HeartMath. So the meditation I took us through earlier was actually based on the science that Roland will share with us around resilience, which is called heart-focused breathing, which is one of the many, many tools that HeartMath and Roland offer. Dr. Roland McCready is the director of research at HeartMath. If you're not familiar with their work, they've been doing this incredible work for 3-4 decades almost now. And now recently, Roland also took over the GCP2 project, which is a project he took over from Roger Nelson on global consciousness. So Roland, it's always a pleasure to be with you, my friend.
Likewise, great to be here, Jennifer. Good to see you again.
Oh, it's such a pleasure, my friend. Well, you, my friend, have the science. You and Paul Zak, I love that you guys both know each other, are both into the science of coherence and resilience. So, Roland, share a little bit from what science is sharing with us about resilience. How do we become more resilient according to what you're studying in heart rate variability and some of the other work you're doing at HeartMath?
That's a big topic and a hard one to answer in 5 or 10 minutes. But I think probably at the most fundamental level, resilience is an evolving thing, but it used to be thought that resilience is something we're born with. We're either genetically endowed with it and we've got it or we don't. And that's just not the way it is. Resilience varies throughout our life, even day to day. And I would say that it's probably the most fundamental, basic thing about resilience is a metaphor we use in our resilience training programs, is to think of that we have an inner battery, right, that has a certain amount of energy and charge in it. And that's the energy we have to navigate the day, right? And if the energy in our inner battery gets low, we don't have the inner resources to deal with the things that come our way, right? And so one of the keys to really navigating life, right, and for more resilience is really gets down to energy management, becoming more aware of and responsible for how we expend our energy and how we renew our energy. So that there's a lot to unfold what I just said, but I think that's really the essence of it. And there's so much science that supports the essence of what I'm just saying, because it is when our energy gets low, our inner battery, that metaphor, that we then don't have the same amount of inner resources to self-regulate. So the little things that usually water off a duck's back that, oh yeah, just the way so-and-so is, we start over identifying, putting significance and drama in it. That even spends more energy, kind of that downward spiral. And if we do that long enough, that basically breaks down our different levels of resilience, mentally and emotionally, physically, and we finally go into, breakdown, months, years later, these types of things. So I would say emotional self-regulation, learning about our emotions and how they're really what drives the show, runs the show in our body, is one of the keys to it. And that's why in a lot of our, certainly our beginning programs, we focus so much on simple, practical, in the moment, and that's a key, techniques to regulate our self-regulate, become aware of and self-regulate our emotions.
I think it's such important work, Roland. You and I, of course, met. It was in, I think, March or May of 2020 when you were teaching this work to first responders, to nurses, firefighters. I will always remember doing a show with you, and one of the lead nurses at a hospital that was doing HeartMath work was sharing, I'm going to cry. I remember it was like 3 a.m. my time and recording the show, and this woman was sharing how she was saying goodbye, like these patients. It was during the time during COVID where the people couldn't see their families and they'd have an iPad there and talk about needing resilience. You have your loved one who's dying in another room and you can't be with them. And so what a gift to be able to give ourselves that level of resilience, no matter what we're dealing with. There are always going to be obstacles. There are always going to be things that are going to challenge our well-being, our emotional well-being, our physical well-being. And yet by applying these tools and what the science has shown is we can cultivate coherence and cultivate resilience so much in the same way as that we charge our cell phones every day. If we're not recharging ourselves, we're going to be reactive. We're going to say unkind things. We might, not be our highest and best selves. And I think it's so important that we learn how to utilize these tools and to become superhuman. Many of you have maybe have heard me share this before. I always like to give the analogy of Batman, who is not superhuman, but is a superhero. And what makes him a superhero is his super tools, which I think HeartMath offers so many wonderful super tools to have in our belt so that when we find ourselves stressed and anxious, that we do that.
Well said. Right. Well, and we talk about, the HeartMath toolbox a lot. HeartMath really is a system of science-based practical tools, techniques, and technologies that allow us to shift our physiology into what we call coherence, but which really means getting the activity in our higher brain systems within our nervous system literally in sync. And that's what underlies our capacity to make better decisions, to navigate life with greater ease, less stress, these types of things. So we're really making better choices. And that's kind of, I would say, level 2 of HeartMath. Level 1 is basic energy management and self-regulation, is learning to really connect with, and you were saying this earlier, Jen, that connecting with our heart's intuitive guidance. And that's something we mean quite literally, that there really is an energetic part of ourself that operates at a higher dimension. And that is through the heart that we learn to access, or we can access that. So now we're starting to navigate from really being in alignment with that deeper part of ourself, who we really are. And this also relates to resilience, and I would say flexibility as well, is when we're able to operate from that really deeper heart-connected space. It gives us a type of inner security that allows us to really know that we can deal with whatever life brings our way, or whatever we draw in life. And that's such a wonderful transformative gift for so many people, because it takes out a lot of the negative projections and all the future anxieties and these types of things. So really having that type of a deep inner security.
Yeah, I think it's so beautiful, Roland. And for anybody out there right now, what would be your go-to tool for resilience? Would it be generalized heart-focused breathing? I know freeze frame is another one of my favorite ones. Are there any other tools that you would love to share with everyone today?
Well, those heart-focused breathing, of course, which you started with in your meditation, is really step 1 of not all, but most of the HeartMath techniques. And because breathing is something we can consciously change. And by focusing our attention in the area of the heart and breathing at the body's natural resonant frequency, which we actually really do have, that shifts physiologically or into that more coherent state, which sends different signals to the brain and has all kinds of benefits. But then the next step, the simplest heart math technique is called quick coherence. Something anybody can use anywhere. Your eyes open, nobody needs to know you're doing it, right? So it's a great on-the-go technique. Is start with heart focused breathing, but then consciously activate what we tend to think of as a renewing emotion. That might be a feeling of appreciation. Is an easy one to start with for most people. And it can be something simple. You don't have to appreciate the guy that just cut you off in traffic, that you're getting triggered around, but no, appreciate that it's a beautiful day, or you have a home to go home to, or breathe in that feeling that you have. And when your pet jumps in your lap, like I know Teresa's got going on right now, getting home with her cats, and or that special place in nature, that feeling you have when you're there, just breathe in that feeling, because that starts bringing in a deeper level of coherence past just what you do through the breathing. And so that's one of the simple techniques. And then freeze frame, which you're right, is one of my personal favorites. You go a step farther. After you get your system coherent, the physiology coherent, you activate that renewing emotion, which brings in a deeper level of energetic coherence. Then ask your heart, what's the best solution, or what's the best choice I should make in this situation? Or what's the information I need to write this paragraph, or if you write a scientific paper in my case. And then basically breathe in some inner stillness and just listen for that answer. And then have the courage to follow through on whatever that heart-directed guidance is. And so I think that's one of the most powerful techniques, is it's really taking people to that straight line connection to their heart's intuitive intelligence, who we really are at our higher vibrational self.
Roland, I'm going to come in for a quick second, because two of our Global Peace Tribers have lost loved ones, including Ayada, who today buried her 25-year-old grandson. And so I would just love to ask if you have any thoughts specifically about dealing with grief and deep mourning.
That's a tough one. I mean, when we have a loss like that of a close loved one, or for some people even a pet, it's a process that we have to go through, and so I'm certainly not going to negate that. But at the same time, I can say that the techniques I'm really talking about can be very helpful there as well, and also in trauma recovery. As we connect with our heart, our deeper heart, I mean, if nothing else, we can just send, real true love to that person that we've lost, to help them with their transition, to their journey to where they're going next, or going back to wherever they come from. And so that would be one thing, and to just set in inner stillness the best we can, and breathe love into ourselves to help with our own balance and recovery through that process. But it's a process that we have to go through.
Okay.
Well, Roland, thank you so much. You always have the deepest wisdom, the latest science to share with us, my friend, and always grateful for you and all the wonderful work that you do at HeartMath. I'm a huge fan. I do heart-focused breathing every day. I teach it to all of my executive clients, and I just think it's a beautiful thing. So I think we have heartmath.org is the website we wanted to pull up for you, right, Roland?
That works.
So Scott, if we can pull up, it's heartmath.not.com, Scott.org, because there are actually two HeartMaths. There's heartmath.com and heartmath.org. It's okay. It happens often.
There we go. We're pulling up heartmath.org. There we go.
Yes, this is the one that Roland works with, the HeartMath Institute. For any of you out there interested, I've been a HeartMath certified trainer and coach now for a few years. I use it every day in my work and my work with my clients. So if you're interested in learning about HeartMath, this is a great place where you can do classes, learn more, and there are so many wonderful trainings and tutorials on here. I highly encourage people to check it out.
And always, people, when you go there, go to heartmath.org and always sign up so that, you can get kind of the latest. I'm going to do that. I actually went out and met with Doc about 30 years ago. So I've been blessed to be fortunate to know about HeartMath for quite a while. but it's a wonderful, wonderful organization. And they're very, very generous with all the information that they provide. I mean, even just looking at this website, look at how much there is. And these are tools that I know a lot of our Global Peace Drivers already use, and love to invite anybody that is using HeartMath tools. Pop something in the chat box. Let us know how the HeartMath tools, whether it's Freeze Frame or any of the other tools, have supported and inspired you.
Yeah, if I may, there's a technology tool that I really like to support, and it's called the Global Coherence app. And this is a phone-based app, and you can actually use your phone's camera as a sensor for measuring your heart rate variability and your level of physiological coherence, and practice the coherence techniques. This is an app that's really about bringing people from around the world together to really amplify our heart-focused radiations of love, compassion, kindness into the planetary field, which is a whole other aspect of our research. And so I would really invite you to join that community as well, the Global Coherence Initiative community, and check out the app. And it's free, so no charge, and you can get an experience of measuring your own coherence and also the collective's coherence.
And how blessed we're to have both you and Teresa Collins with us tonight, because you two are like the two pillars of really helping us to understand what global coherence and coherence itself really means. So thank you, Roland. And we're going to be hearing from Teresa and her cats in a few minutes.
Love you, Roland.
We love
I
you,
gotcha.
Roland. Big love to you. Happy birthday weekend. Lots of
Mhm.
birthdays this month. All right, much
A lot
love.
of Scorpios running around here, I guess.
And next, we're going to have up the amazing Nina Gray. I'll go ahead and let you introduce Nina Scott and her
Yeah.
musical prowess, because you brought her.
Well, Nina has been one of our favorite musical artists, going all the way back to the Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe Days. I think she's probably been on our shows 7 or 8 times. And she also creates wonderful videos. Recently, for Gay Pride Month, I love the video she created about Love is Love. And Nina is an incredible talent, as you're about to see. She also has a great heart. And what she sings about is everything that Global Peace Tribe is all about. So welcome back to the Awakening World. Nina, it's so good to see you again.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. It's so good to be here. And every time I'm introduced to such inspiring people, Roland, thank you for your work with HeartMath. Melissa, I was snapping and clapping at your story. And I just honor the courage and the tenacity to understand oneself and remove the facades and be honest about that journey, because I think this, radical honesty with ourselves, with our institutions, with our communities, with our governments, with our societies is part of the medicine that we all need and we're all taking simultaneously. And so I'm really grateful to be in the company of inspiring leaders. And for the first song I wanted to share tonight, it's a song called May I See Love. And if you want to raise a hand to your heart or close your eyes during this song and just meditate on that frequency, if it has a color, if it has a shape, if it takes the form of somebody you love so much, if you can expand that in your mind's eye while I sing, I invite you to. May I see love, may I see love, may I see love, 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 love. May I speak love, may I speak love, may I speak love, 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 love. May I stay open, may I stay humble, may I stay true to what's so much bigger than me. May I show mercy. May I practice forgiveness for all of my friends, for all I could and could not be. May I see love. May I see love. May I see love, 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 love. May I speak love. May I speak love. May I speak love, 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 love. May my kindness not be taken for weakness. May my strength always be rooted in grace. May I see through all these masks we're faking. May I see innocence when I see your face. May I see love. May I see love. May I see love, 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 love. May I speak love. May I speak love. May I speak love, 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 love. I know I may not always get it right. And I know I may not always see the light. I know I'll always try every day of this one and precious life. May I see love. May I see love. May I see love, 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 love. May I speak love. May I speak love. May I speak love, 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 love. And may I serve love. May I serve love. May I serve love, 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 love. And may I sing love. May I sing love. May I sing love, 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 love. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolute chills. Nina, I'm going to read a couple comments and then we're going to take a look at make a piece, but we need you to turn your microphone back up. We were able to hear your song okay, but when you're speaking, it's still a little too soft.
Okay, let me turn it up. Is that a little better?
Yeah, much, much better. Thank
Okay,
you.
great.
And
Great,
just
great.
lots of comments coming in. Brandon wrote that the kids in his home just ran into the room to hear you, quote, absolutely crushing it in speaking love. So when we get the kids to come running into the room, that's always that's a good goal of
I have a little one in my life that sometimes runs out of the room, so I appreciate that.
getting them to come in this direction. That's
Yeah.
good. Very good. Carol writes, love, love, love. You are so beautiful. Brandon writes, boom. Omachar says, so beautiful, Nina. You have brought me to tears. Grace Denise says, wow, beautiful. Lauren writes, wonderful song, Nina. George, beautiful, Nina. And so on and so on. Many, many other people.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, that great heart of hers, rather than promoting her in her website, although I still encourage everybody to go there, I put it in the chat box. But she's asked us tonight to support an organization. And as many of you know, we do fundraising on Global Peace Tribe shows. And tonight, we really want to raise money for something that, well, is just all too important. I think most of us that are still catching any news, and a lot of people go on news diets, but those of us that are catching the news are just horrified, traumatized by what's going on in the Middle East and seeing the number of children that are dying, the number of children that don't even have access to food or water. It's just horrific. And so Nina has turned us on to an organization that we want to support tonight. It's the Middle East Children's Alliance, also known as MECA, MECA, Middle East Children's Alliance, MECA for Peace. And Nina, tell us a little bit about this organization and why you've chosen them and why you believe in them.
Sure. And thank you for allowing the space to highlight this organization. They've been doing their work since 1988. They're a thoroughly vetted organization that not only brings material support to the children of Palestine and Gaza, but they also bring emotional, mental support. And they have, in the course of their journey, have raised $31 million for children that often don't have basic necessities, an abundance of food and water and, medical supplies, educational tools, and specifically since since October, all of these items have been drastically limited in their reach. So there's somebody who is providing aid emotionally and physically for children. And outside of any, polarizing ideas, I know that I am talking into a space of those that really care about peace and are really here for the unity and the human family that we're all a part of. And when these images from, the Middle East and Gaza emerge of children without anything, or, the hundreds and thousands of orphans that are now left to fend for themselves or figure out life, I understand that we, for our own resilience, must take some breaks, but I also think that expanding our heart to feel into that part of our human family is so important. And if there is a veil being lifted with the advent of technology, allowing us to see mirrors and lenses into worlds that we may never experience in order to expand our hearts, may we be compelled to do something from where we sit in our comfortable homes and, make sure that our human family is not forgotten or felt unloved.
Thank you for putting it that way, Nina. I'm remembering a few years ago, the murder of George Floyd forced non-Black people to confront something that most people of color were very aware of.
Right.
But it forced us to look at it. And
Right.
now again, as you said, it's like, we don't want to see it. It's so painful, but we have to see it, and we have to pray, and we have to also provide green energy. And also really writing to political leaders and saying, please, we must go beyond political alliances and just go to the humanity of it all.
To the humanity.
Got to transcend politics for humanity. We must.
That's it. That's it. And I'm grateful for this time, because I think all of us are feeling that call or feeling a stir in our hearts, unlike we haven't before. And maybe it was kicked off during the pandemic and George Floyd, where our eyes became wider to these issues. And as our eyes widen, our hearts widen, our hands open, and our creative capacities to really bring into existence a new way for all of us they get more online. So
I'm reminded of the line that in the year 2020, when we had to see the pandemic, we had to see George Floyd's murder, it was getting 2020 vision.
ooh,
Yeah, right. 2020 vision to look at what we didn't really want to look at before.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I
Thank
really
you.
want to encourage people to go to that website. And again, for those of you who are watching on Facebook, and I want to acknowledge all the people watching on 200 channels tonight, Facebook groups and pages. It's meccaforpeace.org. That's MECA for peace.org. meccaforpeace.org. I'm going to go to it one more time. And that's where you can, of course, learn all about what they're doing. And just go up here and click donate. And they make it really easy for us to donate. I'm going to do that right now. And I really want to encourage our audience to donate throughout the evening. Take a moment. Let's really support this organization. And that's our greatest way of showing appreciation to the wonderful Nina Gray for your blessings. And you're going to be back for one more song in a little while. Yeah.
I will. I will. And I have to acknowledge Teresa that just said she donated. So thank you. Thank you, Teresa.
Teresa, you are so wonderful about that. Every time she's been on a show, she's always like the first one to jump in and donate. So God bless you, Teresa. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got to move the love around. And when you do, it just creates more love. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're back with Nina. We're going to see Teresa in a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jennifer to introduce our next guest.
All right, Scott. Thank you, Nina. Thank you for the beautiful work with Mecca. Definitely, let's all support that. I know I am. And I think that the more we can all do, not just monetarily, but with our thoughts, our words, and our actions, it's a global effort that will help to shift the consciousness of all of us. So thank you, Scott. And up next, we have the incredible Brandon Naslin. He is a dear friend, the head of BAM Leadership Coaching. Again, my prior co-host of the show. Get Yourself the Job, which we had done for about a year a while ago. It's a lot of fun if you go back and listen to some of those episodes. We did a lot of fun together. And Brandon, when I was thinking about who we wanted to have on the show today, really Brandon came to my mind as one of the people who we wanted to feature because he is a human being who cares so much about everyone, whether it's his daughter or his beautiful, incredible, talented wife who we love. Shout out to Erin. Or any of the people in his life. If you know Brandon, you know what it's like to feel loved, because that's who this man is he is just a walking emanation of love. Thank you, Brandon. I'm so happy you're here with us today.
Happy to be here, always for you. Anything for you, Jay Hill.
Yeah, and he's taking time out on dad duty. So he's the one who said, the kids came in and ran in as soon as Nina started playing. So extra bonus points and kudos to you for doing this while you're on dad duty tonight.
Yeah,
so Brandon, share a little bit about, how it was that you've learned how to become resilient. I know you've gone through so many of your own life struggles. When you and I met, you were an attorney. It was hilarious. So Brandon, well, I think you had already left being an attorney by the time we had met. He was an attorney, turned recruiter, turned advocate for women, and now incredible instrumental leadership coach for people around the world. Talk to us a little bit about your journey and how you were able to be resilient along the road.
I mean, resilience is something that's learned and witnessed and experienced. And I think if you look around you and you observe the world, so much that's the lessons, our parents maybe instill in us, society instills in us, or certainly what we endure. Good buddy of mine, Chip Connolly, runs Modern Elder Academy, talks about this idea of not knowledge, but wisdom. Knowledge is, we can read a book, but wisdom is gained through experience. And, in Buddhism, they talk a lot about, suffering can exist, but you must give it meaning and purpose. And so the more you infuse things with meaning and purpose, the more, you find resilience and, hope. But I've been through my share of tragedy and bullying and discrimination. And so, I've seen it all. And it's a hard time in the world right now too. Things that are going on around the world. And as a bullied person, I certainly, the war in Gaza is a great example, but as soon as I knew it, I have good friends who are Palestinian, Lebanese. But, my family has to be Jewish. And I knew anti-Semitism was going to go sky high regardless. As I like to say, they're not attacking Israeli delis or attacking Jewish delis, And someone had a swastikas drawn on his door in college saying burn in hell Jew, or, has a mother whose family survived the Holocaust or family there in Israel. It scares me. And I think fear, is a great quote from Shawshank: fear will hold us prisoner, hope will set us free. And my greatest hope is for peace and for understanding and for love. And I certainly devoted myself to that through diversity and inclusion. And my mother was a school teacher in Baltimore City. And so I was raised to see everyone as not different, but the same. And it feels like an isolating time, to be honest with you. Sometimes being really vulnerable and real and scary. I'm scared. I'm scared for my kid, like really scared for her. Like I thought, swastika on my door is one thing, but why the fuck does she have to worry about that?
Yeah.
And why does a kid in Gaza have to worry about whether they're going to have a family? It's just their kids. They should be playing Melissa and Doug shit,
So how do we do this, Brandon? You get to work with a lot of the top leaders in the world, supporting them. How can we be leaders in our own life? How can we, stand up for what we believe in and yet still hold peace and space for every other person in the world and what they're going through and their perspective? Because I think wars are on perspectives. My perspective is better and yours is wrong. How can we be resilient in the face of that and come to a place of peace and unity for all of us when there are atrocities in the world like what you're talking about?
The wise sage Ted Lasso says it better than I, says it great. But Walt Whitman said it best, right? Be curious, not judgmental. And I think that I was really bullied when I was a kid, and I really there was a dart scene in Ted Lasso. I really identified with that scene. I was always curious, like even getting kicked in the head. I was like, I wonder why they're doing this. Like why me? I was always curious, and I think if the world could be a little bit more curious, not judgmental, we would ask more questions, and we would find out why there's so much hatred, right? And we'd be curious, and we would see our role in it. Usually, we have a part to play. It's rarely. No one's innocent. And more importantly, though, then that doesn't mean, there's true victimization in the world, but I would say that curiosity and hope and just trying to find those common grounds and empathy. And what do we all want, right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Just want shelter and food and, safety. Kids don't need a lot. So I don't know. I'd say be curious, not judgmental. But Ted Lasso said it first, and Walt said it before him. Walt Whitman, and not Walt Whitman. It was, I think it was Walt Whitman actually. It was Walt.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. It's like, how can we approach everything when we look at somebody else's circumstance and we think we know what's going on? It's from that very place that we become single focused and we put on these blinders that then blinds us to the truth of a situation. Many years ago, there's a book that I was just thinking about this the other day, of my 5 probably favorite books of all time, and this is one of them. It's called One Amazing Thing. And I tear up to this day. I've read this book 20 years ago, but I still tear up every time I talk about it, because in the book, this Indian author does a great job of getting you to judge the characters. There's these 9 characters in an Indian embassy waiting for their visa. And each of the characters, one is Muslim, one is an adulterer, one is this, one is that, one is a young punk kid. And the author does such a phenomenal job of getting you to viscerally judge them. You feel like this adulterer person is bad because they're cheating on their wife, etc. And yet then a horrible earthquake happens, like obviously tragedy, like what we're seeing in the world right now. And this group of 9 people are now all, they're trapped inside this building, and you don't know if they're going to live or die. So a character in the book who's an ex-Marine, he looks at each person and he's rationing out supplies, and he looks at every one of them and he says, this may be the last chance we have to share the one amazing thing that makes us who we are. And if, as you go around and as you hear each person's story, the people who you were so sure that you knew why they were bad or wrong or this way or that way, and then by the end of the book, you just have developed such deep compassion for each one of these characters. And I think it's just a metaphor for life and for where we're at right now. is that what if we could all hear each other's one amazing thing? How would that shift the color of the lens that we look at one another through, right?
I love that. Yeah. And amen, my sister. And I really, I think that's what you bring forth. And it's certainly so much. I mean, that is my story of resilience and hope. It's people seeing me when I refuse to see myself. When I wanted to die, people tell me why I had reasons to live. And you know, a mother who believed in me against all costs, you know, who succumbed to her own disease and mental unhealth so that I could, I mean, she died so I could live. You know, how do you deal with that shit? And the reality is that I do find that we live in this world of we look through the worlds of mirrors, and it's the mirror someone else puts in front of us and says, this is who you are. And we see ourselves as bad. Not even society sees us as bad, let alone. And I think when people can see us clearly, and that's the gift we can give one another, is to share strengths, is to see one another, to connect and say, here's what I see about you. Especially if you're programmed not to like that person, seeing them despite that, seeing their beauty and sharing that with them. Oh man, that's just incredible. So I don't know. I spend my life doing that, is trying to see people and help them see themselves, because I know that's what saved me. I wouldn't be resilient without people seeing me first, because I didn't see myself as being able to achieve it. Now I try to do that every day for others.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, Brian. So what do you recommend? How can we help see each other? Because what I'm hearing you say that's so powerful is it's in our being able to reflect to somebody else how their greatness, being able to see in somebody else, you know, that moment where we don't see it in ourselves. My sister once gave me a bracelet that had this beautiful charm on it, and it said, let this be your greatest task. Let this be your greatest joy, to give people back to themselves, even in their darkest hour, especially in that hour. And that's what I'm hearing that you do, Brandon, and that you've had done for you. How can we do that for one another?
I think, you know, Carol said this in her comment, it's so important to be seen. And so one of the things that I have almost every client do, and it's based on exercise that really changed my life when I was going through coaching. But I do something called the Power 3, and I have my clients do it, and I've done it. And it's basically, you go to 3 people, you go to a friend, a family member, and a colleague, 3 different arenas. You go to a true friend. That's the person who really is happy for you when you succeed and mourns for you when you lose. You know, that person who wants you to win. Hopefully you have more than then than not. But what I would say is you go to 3 people and you ask them these 3 questions. You say, what's unique about me? You ask them, how can I help you? And most importantly, you ask, what do you want to see more of? Because so often the thing that people want to see more of is our greatest strength that we try to hide. And it's just so strange. We hide our gifts because sometimes they're rooted in shame, or a lot of times people try to, like, you know, don't talk as much, or don't be this, or don't be outgoing, or don't be, you know, I have a company I coach called Panzora, and one of our core values is bring your weird. And like everyone who joins that company brings it for the same value, like bring your fucking weird. Nina has one of the most gorgeous voices I've ever heard in life. And, you know, music is like such a, what if people were like, hey Nina, maybe don't sing, like, fuck them, you know, like, what a loss for the world. I love coaching musicians. I love that my friends are musical theater nerds, or sorry, not nerds, actual musical theater people that are on Broadway and giving gift to the world. And society tells you to shut down. And I say, triple down, you know, like triple down, quadruple down, infinite down. You know, if you have a job, I like to say one thing that's really important to me is, and here's my quote, if anyone's not happy in their job, you can quit and find a better job. You can quit and don't have a better job, because you can't get healthy in the environment that's making you sick. So if the environment's making you sick, or the person's making you sick, leave. You'll be healthier, I promise. But my biggest promotion is get spectacularly fired or get spectacularly divorced. I used to be a domestic attorney, you know, whichever, you know, get the fuck out, go get yourself dumped, go get yourself fired. Those are the people who are like living their best life. They're, you know, they're in their 50s or 60s or 70s, and they are like, yeah, I did it. I finally said the thing, or I did the damn thing. I had a client one time say to me, he was at an entertainment company for years at and someone came up to him and he finally let it fly. He was like, here's every idea I've ever had and what we should do. And they implemented like 7 of them, right? But he pissed off half the people, but they implemented 7 of his ideas and made the company millions of dollars. And someone came up to him in the hallway and said, you don't seem like yourself. And he started crying. He said, thank you. Thank you. I don't know who that guy was, but I'm not that guy anymore. This is actually who I am. I just didn't want to show you guys for a decade. And I'm like, oh, that's my happy place.
Oh, beautiful, Brandon. I think it's so true. What I'm hearing you say is, how can we all be unashamedly, authentically ourselves and share our truth and not get caught in the rigmarole of worrying whether we look good or what other people think. And everybody loved what you put in there, but what's unique about you? How can I help you? And what do you wish to see more of? Thank you so much, Omashar, for putting that in the chat. I think those are great questions that we can all go out and apply. So I love that. Any other closing thoughts, Brandon, or anything else you'd like to share as far as your favorite?
I mean, it's a child kind of night, and whether they're in Gaza or Israel or wherever they are in the world, they deserve to live in peace and be happy. And it's our job as adults not to fuck up the world for them, these kids shouldn't be as resilient as they are, but they will be resilient. They will be resilient. If history has taught us anything, hopefully they're going to let love speak louder than hate. And that's kind of my greatest hope, is that love speaks greater than hate. And that's the only way you have true resilience. Hope, not fear.
So true. And you know what? It does build resilience. Just earlier today, my mother-in-law, who I love and adore, was in Israel during the last huge war, during World War II. And she was a little girl who had polio and whooping cough and was literally in the bunkers. And she is the toughest 80-plus-year-old woman you've ever met. Yesterday, we call her for Shabbat. I'm Jewish as well. And we always do Shabbat with her. And we get on the phone and she says, oh, I forgot to tell you, my darlings, I'm in the hospital. She's been in the hospital for 2 days. She's like, oh, I checked myself into the hospital. And I was talking to my husband today and I said, you know what, honey, your mom is an extraordinary woman, because even though here she was whooping cough, polio, hiding out in bunkers as a little girl, and yet, you know what? She has grown up to be one of the most extraordinary, kindest, most loving women in the world. So that is my wish for every child out there, no matter what circumstances we're all faced with. May they all have the resilience, so that way they'll have the strength to face whatever tests come before any of us.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Are there any websites or anything you want us to promote for you? I put your LinkedIn in the chat.
Yeah, LinkedIn's a great place. Anyone can follow me on LinkedIn, and I'll send you, if anyone wants it. I have a document that I'm happy to send anyone. I live and breathe by LinkedIn. My brilliant wife, who is the head of external comms at DoorDash, always says own one thing. And I try to just, don't do Twitter. I'm not a TikToker, so find me on LinkedIn. I thought I'd be a life coach when I met Jennifer, but no one wanted to hire me. So I'm an executive coach and make sure that executives or career people have the best life possible. Because one thing that really came out of me during the Black Lives Matters protests and Me Too was, we don't get to show up one way at work and say we're different at home. You have to be kind everywhere. And the best leaders in the world are amazing parents, and they're amazing leaders. They don't bully someone at work and then go home, because guess what? They're not that great at home either, So I don't know, just my non sequitur pitch for be the holistic you in all arenas, and we don't have to put on a mask. We can just be ourselves. And it's a lot easier, and you don't have to use resilience as much when it turns out when you're just one version of you. So yeah, find me on LinkedIn though, because I think that career and life should intersect to be our fullest life.
Well, since we aren't going to go to a Zoom or to an URL, I'm going to read something that Carol Craig wrote. And first off, I want to say, just to be honest, Brandon, you've set by far the record for most F-bombs ever dropped on Global Peace Tribe.
My mom's from New York. I don't know what to tell you.
Probably
Sorry.
more than we've had in the last year combined.
It's my nightmare. It's my nightmare.
But Carol Craig, one of our favorite, who's a teacher, by the way, Carol is a teacher, travels the world, shared a story inspired by you. She wrote, once quit a job in the fishing industry where we had a, quote, fuck jar that you had to pay into it anytime you swore. The day that I quit, I stood up, marched over to the jar, stuck in $20 and told the whole company to F off in a very loud way. So you've inspired Carol, who in a way that I've never seen her quite inspired before. So we all have our unique gifts and
Yeah, Brandon and I we had to put like not or for
Yeah,
adult
oh,
audiences
God.
only on our old podcast on Get Yourself the Job. It was like adult mature audiences only may listen to this show.
Oh God.
There's a lot of
I love
gems in
Carol's
there.
story though. Yeah, we did. Sorry, I'll tone it down next time.
It's
Oh, you're amazing.
You're
Don't
awesome.
ever change, buddy. I love
Oh,
you so
God.
much. Thank you so much for doing it while you're on Dad Night. We love you and big
love you
hugs,
too.
my friend. All right. Well, from Brandon Maslin, we now get to share a new friend with you, Paul Zak. Dr. Paul Zak is a leading neuroscientist who is an extraordinary human being. He is one of the most cited and quoted scientists in the world, and he has a new app called Best Tuesdays Ever, which I'm obsessed with. It's an app that is free to use, and it's you can match it with any wearable devices, and it tells you real time how safe and connected you feel with another human being. So even if you are watching the show right now, you could actually see how your heart rate variability is and many other great things. So Paul, it's such a pleasure to have you here. I'm so happy our mutual friend Ian connected us. And thank you for all the wonderful science that you're bringing to the world to help us get in greater coherence and harmony with ourselves and others.
Thanks, Jennifer. Nice to be with you.
Yeah, such a pleasure, my friend. So talk to us a little bit about your journey. You have such a beautiful story, neuroscientist, Calm app creator, Calm researcher. Talk to us a little bit about your journey.
Yes, I'm really interested in human behavior. And, as many people have said, humans can be the most wonderful gifts in our lives, and they also can do terrible things. And so, what is that switch point? How do we understand why people can be loving and kind and sweet, and why sometimes the same people can do things that are so malevolent? And so, really identifying those signals in the brain that tell us about that inflection point, and then building up technology so that we can measure and manage our own emotional fitness so that we can perform better as human beings. And I think from a resilience perspective, the literature shows basically 4 factors we can control that allow us to really thrive: diet, exercise, sleep, and the quality of our social relationships. So the first 3 are, well known and easy to measure, and super important. And what we've done in the last couple of years is developed the ability to measure, as you said, how much the brain values the social emotional experiences we're having, which builds up our resilience by strengthening our social connections. And what's interesting is the brain's very blunt in these systems. So I'm getting some social interaction, you are right now, but I could play with my dog and get social interaction. I can watch a movie, right? The brain doesn't really care so much. I mean, the one-on-one human interaction is generally much more immersive, much more valuable to the brain than something that's asynchronous or I do on my own. But still, I think thinking about those 4 factors gives us things that we can control in our own lives that allow us to live happier and healthier.
So, Paul, I remember you showed me the app the last time we were on a call together, and I was so fascinated by it. So let's say, I believe your app scores from like 0 to 100, right? Of how safe you're feeling or connected with another human being. Let's say we're trying the Best Tuesdays Ever app, and we notice that in general, the quality of our interactions is maybe hovering around a 20 or 30 or a 50 as opposed to an 80 or 100. What can we learn from that?
Yeah, so just going to clarify a couple of things. The app's called Tuesday. You can find it in the App Store. It's free. The website's called Best Tuesday Ever.
Got it.
And then there's 2 dimensions, as I mentioned, that the app measures. One is how connected am I? How much value am I getting from this social emotional interaction? And the second is, do I feel comfortable around these humans? So that's psychological safety. So we have 2 neurologic measures of those. So we're in a sort of 2x2 matrix. And then you can see where you are in that matrix and manage it. So if you're low on immersion, which is this value of social connection, then you can reach out to someone, do a phone call, do a Zoom, call a friend, and then share something that people have done here. It's like Brandon did, right? You said to Brandon, I love you. Like, that's a really valuable way to share that emotional experience. And what's interesting about this value of social experiences, which I've called immersion, is it's really contagious. So if you're feeling love, if you're feeling joy, if you're feeling connected, sharing that with someone, not just in your actions perhaps, but even in words, just telling somebody that you care about them, that I'm here for you, I love you, whatever those words are really important ways to share that. And then it reflects back on you, right? If you say you love someone, then generally, if they love you back, hopefully they do, they say the same thing to you. And yes, there's a reciprocal approach. And the second is the psychological safety. So, sometimes we're thrust into situations with other people where we don't feel comfortable. We don't feel this environment's good for us. And being able to quantify that and go, actually, when I go visit these people, I really don't feel like I'm cared for. I don't feel like I'm appreciated because the app syncs to your calendar. Then you can begin to curate your life for better happiness on those two dimensions. Do I feel like I'm comfortable around these people? Am I relaxed? Am I having a good time? And second, am I really connecting to them? So you could be in a neutral space where these people are fine, but I just don't care that much about them. You know who you are, people in my life. But I really want to focus my life on those people that I really care about. I mean, what's nice thing about being older, Jennifer, right, is that you can have these same-sex friends. Like I have, 3 or 4 guy friends who I tell them I love them. They're like brothers to me. And man, when you get that phone call, hey, Paul, I just want to tell you I love you. Got one today from a dear friend of mine. And I'm like, oh, man, that's the best thing ever. I know my family loves me. That's great. But to have, 3 or 4 guy friends who will just, you're so comfortable with them. And I do anything for these people, like whatever it takes, I would always be there for them. So, and they'd be there for me. And that's how we build up our resilience against, getting kicked in the gut by life, which is always going to happen.
Yeah, I love you, man. It makes me think of that movie. I love you, man. It's funny that you just touched on that, sparked a thought for me. There was another brilliant man I've interviewed a few times named Dr. Paul White. And as a quick aside, Dr. Paul Zach and I did an interview that'll be airing on Regarding Consciousness, which is my podcast, and that'll be coming out soon. So you can find that on YouTube under @JenniferKHill, or it'll be on Regarding Consciousness in a couple of weeks. Though there was another gentleman named Dr. Paul White, who I've interviewed probably 3 or 4 times, who co-wrote the book with Dr. Gary Chapman of the 5 Love Languages on appreciation at work. And to your point, Paul, of how meaningful it is to get that I love you call, right? What if we all took a moment to find out from the people in our lives how they want to be appreciated? How would they love to hear from us? Dr. White's work on this is really incredible. Do you want to receive a text, a phone call? Do you want to spend more one-on-one time with me? Do you love it when I'm traveling and I just buy you a little trinket that makes me think of you? One of my dear friend Maya, she loves that. From the first day I met her, she's like, oh, I love gifts. And it's not about the material things. It'll be, she loves hummingbirds. So I'll always find little hummingbird things. Or one of my other best friends loves magnets. And it's no skin off my back to get her a magnet anywhere I travel in the world. So little things that we can do to honor, respect, love, and appreciate one another that I find when we're doing this, Paul, I'd love your scientific opinion on this. I have a feeling it would enhance our resilience and our feeling of connectivity with these people.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you said such a profound thing, which is that you have to personalize that experience. So if I just say, hey folks, I love you all, or whatever, it's kind of the Hollywood "I love you," sort of thing. It's not a real. It's like an air kiss. It's not really real. But if I know something about you and I can specialize that, right? So I think it's a really great idea. And by the way, from a brain perspective, if you can surprise somebody with that, you get a lot more neurologic immersion if it's unexpected, right? So for your romantic partner, buy flowers randomly. Don't do it on Valentine's Day. Triple the price of flowers. Do it on a random day. You buy chocolates, whatever that is. How about a friend at work? One of your neighbors. People who are really wonderful. Do that little thing that tells them that you really know them as a human being. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, in fact, it was funny. There was a gentleman when I was running my last company, we had a San Fran office, and that every time I had a new employee start, I would always ask them, how do you prefer to be appreciated? And there was a gentleman named Daryl, and I always will remember this conversation because this ties into your point of talking to people in the way that they want it, flowers at a random occasion, whatever it is. So I asked Daryl, how do you want to be appreciated? And he said, Jennifer, please don't ever appreciate me publicly. I would be mortified.
Nice.
Don't ever acknowledge me in a group call, in a group email. That would be awful for me. He said, but you know what would make a difference? A short private note or giving me a private call to tell me I did a great job. And what if we could all just bring that level of conscientiousness and thoughtfulness? Think of how many lives we could uplift and inspire and bring joy to. And to your point, Paul, which you started with, to enhance that psychological safety for everyone around us.
And also kind of read the people around you, right? So, everyone's an adult. You can see when people are tired or upset or whatever, and then call out those emotions that you see, and that starts a much more intimate kind of conversation that most people are willing to have. So, hey, you look so happy today, or are you okay? You look like are you having a tough day? And opening up that emotional channel, I think it's really the appropriate thing to do. Here's the thing I started doing, Jennifer, just partially to run experiments on myself, was I started talking to people in elevators. That this is so weird as a social creature that we're in this little box for 20, 30, 40 seconds, and we're pretending like there are not other humans there. So I started saying hi to people in the elevators, and two things happened. Half the people were super happy I was chatting with them, and they had a nice little conversation. And the other half were completely freaked out, and both those made me happy for some reason. So, but I think that's the kind of thing. Just reach out, right? What's going to happen in the elevator? Now, I don't do it if it's like I'm alone as maybe a young woman and it feels creepy, like I'm not going to do that, right? But you have to gauge a little bit. But I do a lot. I was just in Brazil a couple of days ago and speak terrible Portuguese. I said hi to people in Portuguese in the elevator, and they're talking to me, and I'm getting every fourth word or something, and it was super fun. And people smile and they're having a nice time. And yeah, it was. I don't know. Why should we not talk to each other?
Talking, and I love, what a lot of people are putting in the chat too, is learning to listen too. So how can we cultivate not just the talking? Because I think the one side of it, to your point, is so beautiful, Paul. I remember there was this young kid. I Uber everywhere. I haven't driven for 6 years or so. And a young man picks me up from the place. He's taking me back to an LA. We start talking, like, how's your day? He's like, oh, ma'am, I'm ma'am now. Ma'am, my life is almost over. I'm going to be 21 next week. And I was like, oh, sweetheart, your life is just beginning.
Bless him.
Yeah, God bless him, right? And so we start pulling up his Gene Keys. We all love Richard Rudd here. And I start pulling up his human design and all this stuff. And by the end of the car ride, he looks back at me. He's like, ma'am, may I follow you on Instagram? This changed my life. I can see I have a purpose now. And like, what a gift, though, that just out of being curious, as Brandon was mentioning earlier, and just asking questions and then listening deeply, for what matters to other people, we could change lives.
And also accepting people for who they are. I think once you're over 25, you kind of realize that no one really changes. You can guide people a little bit, but I think there's something beautiful, not just tolerating others, but really accepting them for who they are. This conference I was at in Brazil, there were some odd people there that they seemed strange to me. And I was like, and then I started like, okay, they're different than me. That's okay, right? People need more attention, and they're kind of dressed weird. And I've kind of, it's like a scientific conference, and it was just kind of odd. But these people couldn't have been lovelier. And I talked to them, and they were so nice. I'm like, in my head, don't be a jerk. Just accept people. Everyone's different. Everyone's beautiful. Everyone's equal on every level. We're all equal. We're just trying to get through life and get a little bit of happiness. And again, those 4 dimensions are things like, we all can control. So make sure you're getting enough sleep, healthy diet, try to get some exercise. And then, find someone that cares about you and spend a little time with them.
Beautiful.
Not that hard.
Such a pleasure. I love your energy, your vibration. I know if I had the app open right now, I'd probably be at an 80 or 90. So thank you so much. And I'd love to show the website, maybe, Scott, if you don't mind. I believe it's Best Tuesday ever it's in the chat. And
I have the QR code if you guys want to download it for free. Can I pull that up?
Yeah, please. Awesome.
Yeah. You scan that. Right now it's iPhones only, so we're still working on the Android version. So if you're an iPhone person, you can scan that, goes right to the App Store. And yeah, try it. It's free, and I think it's really useful. It's being used in wellness programs and health insurers, and it's a way to see your own unconscious emotional state second by second, and really learn, what makes you happy, what doesn't.
Beautiful, Paul. Well, such a
Thank you,
pleasure.
Jennifer. What a pleasure to be on with you and everybody else. Appreciate it.
Yes, and so deeply looking forward to our episode airing a few weeks regarding consciousness. And thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I think it's beautiful to tie in, to have you and Roland here to talk about the science of connectivity. Scott, any closing thoughts from you for Paul before we go into announcements and music?
Just what a wonderful guy. And I appreciate your enthusiasm. I just, oh, here, I should put myself on. I just got your app. So I'm looking forward to playing with it. It is now on my phone. Now you can't see it, but it's there.
Yeah.
So thank you. I'm excited. And thank you very much, Paul. You're a great guy. Everybody that Jennifer brings on is just always so wonderful, So it's great to have you, and welcome to the Global Peace Tribe.
Appreciate it, Scott. Thank you so much.
All right, Paul, have a great weekend. Thank you. And back to you, Scott. I know we have a little more music and some announcements, so I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, but I want to start with an announcement of letting people know about your survey, because you've done so much for tonight's show. So I would love for you to tell people a little bit about Optimatch, what it is, and then how taking your survey, how that supports you and what you're up to.
Oh, thank you, Scott. I really appreciate it. So many of you know I actually did our launch of Om Heals, which is our original project with 100 practitioners around the world. You can still go to om-heals.com and find the list of all the wonderful practitioners we featured. And we had such interest in the matching algorithm, which we got to an 87% satisfaction rate, that we had businesses, organizations, therapists, coaches who said, can we put this on our own website to better match ourselves with clients, to match two people together with employees and employers? I used it to find my own assistant. It took me 15 minutes, and it's his dream job. So what I'll go ahead and share here is I'll show you. We can match any two people. So it really helps us. The more data points that we have, any two people can be matched. And I will gladly send, all you have to do is send me an email. And if you and somebody you love or somebody you work with wants to answer the matching questions, it would tremendously help us. I'll go ahead and share really quick the screen here. So this is two people matching. This is my co-founder, Julian, and this is myself. And you can see from the pictograph here how closely aligned we are. And it's a survey that takes about anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. I'll put it in the chat, survey.om.app. So again, it's survey.om.app. And if you want to email me, my email is jennifer@om.app, and just let me know that you answered the matching questions and who you want to do a comparison with. And that would really help us out tremendously, because we're working on growing the data set and just helping everyone to understand how people match and where potential points of friction are. So if you go to, again, it's survey.om.app, it just takes about 5 or 10 minutes to answer it. That would tremendously help us out. We just launched the product this week at a huge international conference, and people really love it. So any help you guys can offer on that would make my day. Thank you,
Beautiful.
Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right. Take a few moments, get some water. I've got a couple quick announcements, and then we're going to go to Nina Gray for one more song from her. Just want to let people know about our upcoming shows this week. And on Wednesday night, Alan Steinfeld is my co-host, and he's bringing on some amazing channels. We're going to bring back Vox Angelis, who's been on the show a few times. She's amazing. And we're going to meet two new channels, Jesse Herman and Marilyn Kawaki. And they're going to do some channeling for us, answering questions from the audience. Omashar will be with us. Alan will be co-hosting, and we will have our evening meditation with Nicholas. And then next Saturday night, the Dreamers are coming back. Hopefully you all remember Piper Dellums and her Dreamers. They're putting together this amazing worldwide project of hotels of peace. And of course, we'll be preparing for Thanksgiving. I recall that Roland today was really suggesting about the power of gratitude. So a week from tonight, we will be really in gratitude, practicing gratitude, and meeting some of the dreamers. But the most important announcement is once again for us to support this beautiful organization. that Nina Gray has referred us to. And I'm going to go to the organization one more time, and I'm going to go to Nina to play. And hopefully, if you haven't donated, maybe while she's even playing, you can donate, because that's a really wonderful thing to do. I made a donation, as you can see, and it's again mecca4peace.org. And you know, if you're looking and watching, oh my God, what's happening over there is so horrible. You know, it's good for us to know I made a contribution, and you know, $25 or $50 for us buys a lot of food, a lot of water over there. So whatever you donate, you know, whether it's $5 or $500 is a value. So please do donate. And I'm going to bring Nina back on. I see she's got a guitar ready. Hi, Nina.
Hey, Scott. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's so good to have you back on the show. You really are one of our favorite people. You have such a beautiful heart, and obviously your talent is incredible. So it's really good to have you back with us.
Oh, thank you. They say there's a saying amongst performers and artists that often you can only perform or sing to the depth of the room. And every time I'm here, I feel so much stirring in my heart, because I know this is landing so deeply because of the community that you cultivate. So thank you to you and to everyone here that is living as the change they want to see and being a fierce advocate and stand for more love in the world. And if you have been here before, while I've been here, you may have heard me share this song before. It's a song that has probably been more popular than any of my songs. It's brought me to open up events for Michael Beckwith and Jane Goodall and Marianne Williamson. And it's a song that was written in 2014, and I feel still applies today, and hopefully will forever until we are living in the world that is equitable and just and safe for everybody. It's a song called We Are Creators. So may you enjoy. And cheers to the creation of the world we want to see. Hey, Mr. Sculptor. Hey, Mr. Builder. When it all comes together, will it make the people better? Hey, Mr. Businessman, Mr. Shareholder, did you write your 5-year plan for New World Order? Well, we're here to wake you up. No, we won't fall prey to old lies. We've been there before. We knew we had the power to change anything, anything and everything. Oh, the future's ours and it's so bright. It will light up every cold and frozen soul from Rome to Tokyo. So let's raise a glass and have a toast tonight. We are creators. We are the painters of our world. We are creators, and we decide what goes. Hey, you in government. Hey, all you teachers, did you come to make a difference? If not, then leave us, 'cause we're the generation to finish what's been started. Goodbye to the old rules mandated by the heartless. We're here to sing our song. I hope you sing along. We've been waiting on change, and it's been a long, 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 long. We are creators. Yes, we are the of our world. We are creators, and we decide what goes. Love is the heart of everything, and love is who we are. Love is the heart of everything, and love is who we are. Love is the heart of everything, and love is who we are. Love is the heart of everything, and love is who we are. So let's raise our hands and lift our voice. They're gonna hear our sound. Let's make some noise. Let's raise our hands and lift our voice. They're gonna hear our sound. Let's make some noise, singing yeah. Oh, we are creators. Yes, we are the painters of our world. We are creators, and we decide, yes, we decide what goes. In the name of creation, the end of destruction, and the world, the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible, I send you so much love. Keep up the good work, everybody.
You know, she wanted me to only show the fundraising, but I've got to take people to her website, ninagray.com. That's NINAGRAE.com. And I really want to encourage you to get her music and join her program, join her Patreon program. She's very generous, by the way. She is always sending out videos and audios and all sorts of wonderful stuff. So let's support this amazing musical artist. And Nina, let's not go this long between visits. You just really made our evening so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott. So good to be here. So grateful to be here. I'm going to drop the YouTube link to the song I just sang in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you.
And, thank you.
Well, we have one more amazing presenter, and it's somebody that I have so much respect for. And I'm going to turn over to Jennifer to introduce her.
Thank you, Scott. Well, the whole reason I am here is because of this next presenter, the unimitable Teresa Collins, co-creator of the Global Coherence Pulse, evolutionary leader, creator and co-creator of the Connection Field, out there bringing coherence, love, and unity consciousness to everyone, and busy working on a new special sound studio and app that you'll have to tune into future shows to learn about, happening in Los Angeles. Teresa, I love you with all my heart and soul. You are a soul sister. I'm so grateful that the universe brought us together in this time and space to get to play together. And it's because of you that I get to sometimes co-host with you and Scott these wonderful shows, because you introduced me to Scott as being part of the Global Coherence Pulse that we often collaborate with Scott on.
Thank God we get to have you in these ways. Of course, of course. Jennifer and I met when she was doing the Global Coalition for Global Unity, right? Yes, and during COVID, and we were doing the Global Coherence Pulse, and Scott was doing the Global Peace Tribe. Like, we really all just showed up because we knew we needed to be together. And that's what creates resilience, right? As we come together. And Nina, we need to get you on a Global Coherence Pulse. Don't you think we should have her on, not just as a musician?
As a thought leader.
I think we need to have her on as a thought leader. Let's hear what you have to say, speaking from your heart, and you can play a little music too, but you should come on a pulse with us.
I
love you.
I know.
I
was messaging Teresa. I was like, we need Nina on a pulse. She is magic. I was in tears, Nina. Your music is Wow. And I love that you work with Michael Beckwith. I know Lee over there. And I was thinking, I was like, oh God, we got to get Nina on Agape. And so I'm so glad that you're already doing work with them.
Yes.
Let's have you come in December. We don't have anybody yet.
You send a message.
We're going to
I'm
be
there.
in touch.
I'm
We'll
there.
message you to get Nina. Thank you so much, Nina, for sharing your heart,
Absolutely.
for your voice. It's just what you bring to the world is pure love. And we're so grateful for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love you.
You know, I want to say thank you, Scott. It's so nice to be on. It's nice to see you again. I've missed you. And Jennifer, you're so beautiful the way that you bring all these people that you love to the space and then share them with us so that we get a chance to experience more. I met so many great new people tonight. And I think the one thing that's really touched me so much was your story about the one amazing thing. And then it really tied together just now with Nina's song about that we're creators. And you know what? Each one of us is this one amazing thing. We're just each one of us, this one amazing thing in this field of our infinite connection. And if all of us were willing to just get quiet and relax and go inward and touch into that place where we breathe in and out of our heart, like you shared in our Heart Math thing, and we let this one amazing thing that we are shine out unapologetically. And why not right now? Because right now, our world is in heartbreak. We're in maximum chaos. We're a system far from equilibrium. So if there was a time for us to let the one amazing thing that we are be the most important thing that we put our energy and our resources and our love into is ourselves, our own oxygen mask on first when the plane's going down, right? If we were to do that and let the one amazing thing that each of us is, this world would already be the new world that we dream of. That's all that's needed, because every single one of us is here for a reason. And all we have to do is let that one thing out.
Teresa, your tears are running down my face. You're reminding me of a conversation I had with my other dear friend, Don Hoffman. Donald Hoffman and Deepak Chopra and I have done all these episodes together, and Don wrote a mathematical formula for consciousness. And about 5 months ago, we were sitting together in Irvine and we're having a cup of tea and we're talking about consciousness in the world. And this is before Israel even started happening in Palestine. And I looked at Don and I said, Don, if we're all one consciousness, his theory of conscious agents is that you have conscious agents, some of which are projected in space-time, some are not. And we all come from one consciousness. Scientifically, this is what Don is finding out mathematically. And I said, Don, why is there hatred? Why is there so much divisiveness and stuff if we are all one consciousness experiencing itself as these billions of different conscious agents? And Don said, because consciousness doesn't discriminate. It wants to have every experience. It wants to taste chocolate. It wants to feel suffering. And I thought, wow, what if we are all just these conscious agents and we've forgotten it, and we've all come from one consciousness, experiencing our one amazing thing, but we forget about it because we get caught up in the suffering and the judgment and the this and the that. And yet our one amazing thing, that is our access to going back to divinity and to the one source. And I'll share one more thing about that, Teresa. Last year I was in a meditation. There's a beautiful meditation I sometimes listen to. And as I was meditating, it was all the chakras, and I got to the third eye. And as I got to the third eye, I was shown this vision of billions of sparks of light that were every one of us as human beings. But instead of moving outward like an expanding universe, every one of the billion sparks of light that was us was moving back to the eternal source, which is where we came from. And I just spent that whole day crying after I saw that.
I love your tears.
I love you, my friend.
You gotta feel like that's what's happening, is that, you know, I mean, I'm not watching the news, but I'm not turning away from the heartbreak of the world, right? That's not what we're supposed to do. But we're supposed to put our attention inward on this one amazing thing that we are, so that we have this space around us that's being generated by our own part in this story that's unfolding. And if we can do that, then we have this opportunity to respond with more love and more care, because we're actually coming from this one thing that we are inside each of us. Instead of trying to deal with what's going on out there, we're actually making the change inside here. It's the only thing. It's the only thing that we can do. And it's the most essential thing. It's the greatest gift we could give to life right now, is for us each to take really good care of ourselves and to tune in and build more coherence and more connection in community. And that builds resilience so that we can choose love over fear in the face of whatever we're facing. And we got to trust life, you guys, because life knows how to move from this place of a system far from equilibrium to a future equal to our vast potential, a potential we can't even imagine. We don't know how to get there, not like individually, but trusting life and being part of life unfolding. All we have to do is be the one amazing thing that we are, and we'll get there.
I love that, Teresa. And you remind me of one of the very first interviews you and I ever did together, was talking about the imaginal cells. It's there. I wish there was a cartoon I could pull up. It was a funny, like, Far Side cartoon where it's a butterfly showing he's being pulled over by a police officer, and the butterfly hands his driver's license to the cop, and it's a picture of a caterpillar. And he's like, oh, that's an old picture of me, and it's so true. We're all these imaginal cells, and we have this amazingness, this butterfly essence waiting to be birthed from the very, very essence of our soul. And yet, you know what? We forget it. We get so stuck in the dirt and the muck that, to your point, how do we look for the amazing thing in all of us? And one more thing I'll add to this, somebody was posting in the chat, and thank you for it, Carol, like, isn't it 5 a.m. in Portugal, 4 a.m. technically, but who's counting? But the funny thing is, it's actually, time is not the right context. Consciousness is the right consciousness, is the right context. And when we can move out of these old paradigms, the old things that have given the questions that we've asked, that have given, I was just with people around AI this week at a conference, and the AI is only as good as the questions we ask. So too are we as human beings. We're asking questions, what are the meaning of life, etc. And yet, what if we need to come from a brand new paradigm and context, so that way these imaginal cells can become the butterfly?
That imaginal cell story goes right back to this one amazing thing in that caterpillar to butterfly story, right? So the imaginal cells are all coming into the caterpillar soup, because it's all upside down, right? So these little sparks of light start to come in. And imagine, like, I started to realize that I was an imaginal cell when I went to or looked out in the world, and the soup I was swimming in did not feel resonant to me. It's like, I don't get it. It's like so different than what my heart is saying. So the more I started to get that I'm not that, so I'm going to pull my attention away and I'm going to put it into, so what am I becoming? I think that's what happens. The imaginal cells start to, instead of fighting what's going on out there, turn their attention inward and start resonating at this different frequency than the soup we're swimming in. And as you start to resonate at a different frequency, you start to attract in other imaginal cells. And we start to build this brand new body. And it's because we stopped trying to fight what was going on out there, what was falling away, what was breaking down. And we started to give our attention to the frequency of what we were becoming. That's what we need to do.
Oh my gosh, I love that, Teresa. It's so funny. So Melissa Bernstein, who was on earlier, turned me on to Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. If you've never read that book, it's a profound book. And something that changed my life in that book, I have struggled with sleep nearly my whole life. And in the book, Viktor shares something called paradoxical thinking, right? And paradoxical thinking is, he gives an example of a client of his who, he was a famous psychiatrist who struggled with sweating. And he said, the next time that you go out and you're in public and you're afraid of sweating, instead of resisting it, to your point, instead of resisting what's happening in the soup, instead say, I hope I sweat 10 times more. I hope somebody has to follow me around with a mop and a bucket. I did the same thing with sleep if anybody struggles with insomnia. So now, instead of going, oh God, I got to go to sleep, I have this meeting, I have that, I tell myself, I hope I never sleep again. I hope I stay awake for the next 3 weeks. And by dropping the resistance, you become embraced and enfolded and one with what is becoming rather than resisting what is.
Yeah. And whatever we're facing, I mean, there is then escalating mental, emotional, physical health crisis on the planet, right? There's so much breakdown that's occurring. No matter what we're facing, the loss of someone, our heartbreak of what's happening in the war, anything that's going on, cultivating our capacity for self-care and coherence and resilience as a baseline to approach anything that's going on in our lives is going to give us something to stand on, right? So no matter what we're facing, a practice of generating greater coherence, greater self-care, greater inner peace, resonating as the imaginal cell is the one thing that would support anything that's going on, anything. So let's keep breathing and tuning into our heart and asking this one amazing thing inside of ourselves. What is it that I'm here to shine? And just let it out. Let it out.
True story, Teresa. I love you. Being in partnership with you and with Scott. Scott, bring yourself on camera, my friend.
I love seeing everybody's faces out there. What a sweet community here tonight.
You have cultivated, Scott. I just want to acknowledge you both for trusting that, we all get to play in this space and time and consciousness soup and discover one another's amazing things. And may every one of us, when we can't see the amazing thing in ourselves, may somebody else be able to reflect that amazing thing that makes you who you are, because that's the moments. May we all have these imaginal cells around us that reflect our butterfly essence when we have forgotten it ourselves.
Yeah, look at all the amazing things we got here. Love you, Scott.
We love you, Teresa.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Jennifer. It's been another beautiful, amazing show. Really, really beautiful. Let's just keep on doing it. At least once every 3 months, the three of us have got to do something together. All right. And Teresa, let us know when the wonderful thing you're working on is ready, when it's almost soup, not quite when it is soup, but it's almost soup. So we can schedule a time to let our audience know about it. Okay.
We will. I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. I feel like Dorothy saying goodbye to, it's like everybody kind of loving everybody else here. So thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you, beautiful, beautiful audience. Thank you for watching. And, I want to acknowledge that we've got this wonderful Global Peace Tribe community that's growing. And throughout the night, people have been chatting each other, some sharing celebrations, some sharing difficult stuff. And I really want to encourage those of you watching on Facebook or on Humanities Team or Conscious Awakening Network, come join us. Come join the Global Peace Tribe. It's really easy. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com. globalpeacetribe.com. That'll take you to our website. And you can learn all about us, get a wonderful free book from Deborah Giusti, our original co-founder, and then click register for the new season. And that's going to take you to our registration page. We do 2 or 3 shows every week, every Wednesday night, every Saturday night, and then special events. Like last week when I was at the Story to the Stars conference. And we do amazing shows. We do evening meditation 7 nights a week. You can come meditate with us at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. This is the show that we had on Wednesday night. It was beautiful. All about who we all are. We are all agents of change. Nina does it through music. Jennifer does it by networking and helping to build businesses. Teresa does it through global coherence. We are all agents of change, and that's what Wednesday night's show is about. And then here's the show that you're seeing tonight, Unleashing Your Inner Resilience. So join us to get the Zoom room links to all of our shows for the rest of the year, plus special offers and gifts. So you get to come on into the Zoom room and be a part of us. I'm going to read a couple last comments, and then we're going to go to Omar Shah for a closing song. And then we've got a beautiful KES group healing experience about to happen. Ayada, I'm going to read, it's a little lengthy. She's the person whose grandson, 25 years old, passed away. She writes, I hope this will inspire us all to remember to ask for what we truly most want. When I got the news that my grandson, Jordan, had died last week, after a couple of hours of intense grief, it occurred to me to ask for help on his behalf instead of just focusing on my feelings. I've worked with Archangel Michael for decades, and I called him in with the request to take Jordan straight to the light, to a place of healing and wholeness. Literally moments later, I felt the energy shift incredibly. I felt surrounded by light. The heaviness was gone, and I was in a state of pure love. I knew that Jordan had been lifted up, and I could feel him in joy. Every time since then that I think of him, I feel this incredible lightness and joy. This was the first time I've thought to do that, and was blown away by how powerful the response was from the spirit realm. So thank you, Ayada, for sharing that. Absolutely. Some of you have heard me share that I held my wife as she passed away. And although I burst into tears, there were a combination of my own personal grief and my own personal joy for her, because she was liberated. I could feel her liberation from the body. A few more comments. Nina Gray writes, yes, we love your tears and your deep feels, Jennifer Hill. Your tears are medicine. Terry Russo writes, the world has been going through lots of changes, but we're holding space for peace and love. Absolutely. We are the Global Peace Tribe. And yes, Carol, KES is happening tonight in just a few minutes. Dia writes, dear Sister Teresa, I so loved seeing you on the Awakening World again. Love, love, love to you. Terry again continues with, as tough as people have been suffering, I've had the pleasure of a few successful recovery patients. Terry is doing the good work as a nurse. God bless you, Terry. Julie Kroll is still with us. Julie, you were the first speaker and you're still with us. God bless you. She just writes, thank you, and we love you, Julie. Thank you very much. Christy Michaels wanted me to share about the astrology reading. I'll just do a quick one. We had an astrologer come and do a reading on Global Peace Tribe, which happened at the start of the pandemic. And the bottom line is that those of us that are drawn to this, we are here to create peace in the world and to help people access their hearts through this awakening world. So thank you, everybody, for being with us. And it's my pleasure to turn it over to our beautiful beloved Omar Shah for a closing song. And then we're going to go to Natalie from Europe to lead a beautiful group healing to complete us. But here is Omar Shah.
Well, holy smoke, I don't think I could get my heart more wide open at all. And the deeper I go into my heart, the less I am in my head. And I'm just so grateful for every contributor, that's my American and English, tonight. And I'm just going to shut up because my thoughts are not in alignment with my heart so much. But I am so, so grateful for this show and everything that it represents. And so we're going to go to this nice little background. And we are ready. We're ready. Here we go.
are gathered in this nation, raising frequency, raising vibration. Hearts are open, hands together, sisters and brothers, loving each other. 'Cause what we are is light in form, and light in form will lift us all. So don't give up on walking tall. The time is now, so heed the call, and wake up to the light of this new day. We are the heart of our world, the light in our world. We are the joy in our world, the love in our world. Showing our colors, Rainbow Nation, higher frequency, higher vibration. Minds are open, love is flowing, lifting each other. Yes, we are growing. 'Cause what we are is light in form, and light in form will lift us all. So don't give up on walking tall. The time is now, so heed the call, and wake up to the light of this new day. 'Cause we are the heart of our world, the light in our world. We are the joy in our world, the love in our world. Raising frequency, raising vibration. Hearts are open, hands together, sisters and brothers, living each other. 'Cause what we are is a light in form, and light in form will lift us all. So don't give up on walking tall. The time is now, so heed the call, and wake up to the light of this new day. One more time. 3, 4. We are the heart of our world, the light in our world. We are the joy in our world, the love in our world.
That's all Twinkle Omashar. What a fantastic, wonderful, wonderful song. My God. That's awesome. I love you, Omashar. I just love you. We'll be back.
Dude, I'm just writing us. I'm just lighting it up, writing us. And well, I'm not writing us. I'm being written through. Let's put it that way. It's more correct. Anyway, namaste. I'm looking forward to the KES healing. Thank you so much for a beautiful night.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody one more time. Thank you, Jennifer Hill, for an amazing show that you put together. Thank you so much. Thank you, Teresa Collins and Nina Gray. Just amazing. Thank you, of course, Omashar. And thank you, beautiful Global Peace Tribe. Please stick around, because every Saturday night now for the last couple of months, we have a member of the Twin Ray community, their most advanced healers, who come on and lead a KES, Christic Energy System healing. And we're really happy to have coming all the way from Europe. She did this once before and people loved it. Natalie, welcome back to the Awakening World.
Thank you. My pleasure.
I'm just going to turn it over to you to explain maybe a little bit to people who haven't heard the previous description of what you're
Okay.
writing tonight, and it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to thank everyone because starting like this is just beautiful. So KES is a healing, holding, advanced technology that was brought in by Shikinama and Sanandaji. And so the KES holding system is an advanced technology that brings in technologies of the futures. So they've brought us this back now so that we can accelerate our healing process. And it's not really something that you can explain, it's more something that you can experience. So it's through the opening of the heart. So I think it's time to step in. So just breathe in and go and connect with your physical heart. Connect deeply with your physical heart and thank your physical heart for all the blessings that it brings into your life, all the connections that happen. And allow yourself to really connect deeply with your physical heart. Because sometimes we open the heart chakra and we forget about the physical heart. So connecting your heart chakra with your physical heart, opening your heart, opening all the doorways, opening behind your heart, in front of your heart, on the right, on the left, above and below. Allowing all your hearts to connect and to be one. Asking for a holding to occur. And through this sacred connection, we're going to go through the portal below, opening the sacred portal of your heart below to connect deeply to the core of Mother Gaia. Allowing yourself to connect with the crystalline grids of Mother Gaia. Opening the profound connection you have, whether it be conscious or unconscious. Allowing her to hold you deeply. As tonight is about resilience. It's about anchoring love and bringing peace on this earth. And she is the one that connects us all together, brings us together, so we may experience even more love as the others reflect the love that is inside of us. Calling in the KES Tesseract over us. All the people present and all the ones that would listen to the replay. As we call in the mothers and the fathers of all these beloveds throughout the world are those that have at heart to anchor peace on this planet and through this universe and beyond. Calling on all your ancestors so that we may all together receive this group holding experience. I, Nathalie Eliane Moutier, I call upon the Cosmic Christ Supreme Intelligence to support and facilitate this group KES holding session. I ask permission from all receivers present to receive this group holding with the highest good, divine grace for all involved. I request on behalf of all people present and those that will listen to the replay and all the ancestors to become aligned for the duration of this session to the divine intelligence of the Christic energy system with grace, with ease, and with joy. I invite the cosmic Christic energy to connect with us now in the most appropriate way for all involved. May that all that transpires in this microcosmic reflection of our group constellation support and uplift the ascension of the entire human collective and all sentient life. I also call forth assistance from the Divine Heavenly Mother and Heavenly Father presence to overlight this group container with pure unconditional love from the Most High. May all be known through the connection of pure love, so that this group holding session anchors in us in the most benevolent way. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Thank you, and so be it. So we're going to start by sweeping the Earth Star chakra underneath your feet, asking it to release and to be cleared for this holding session. Going to the link chakra between your knees, asking it to be cleared and aligned so you may anchor more light. Going to the base chakra, asking it to be cleared and released so it may be experienced holding in the most benevolent way. Going to your sacral chakra, asking it to be cleared and released. Allowing love to fill your sacral chakra, so you may connect to your sacredness again. Going to the solar plexus, asking it to be released, cleared, and aligned. To allow all the emotions to flow. Going now into your heart chakra, connecting with your physical hearts, clearing, releasing, and asking all your hearts to align to this KS hugging session. Going to your throat chakra, healing and releasing. Allowing your body, your expression to be aligned with the power of love, the power of your heart, connecting your heart to your expression. Allowing this sacred connection to align. Going to your third eye, healing and releasing your third eye. Asking for clear vision. Connecting your third eye to your higher selves, higher planes of consciousness. These are other parts of you that are enlightened. Allowing your third chakra now. Going into your crown chakra, opening the lotus flower on the top of your head. 144,000 petals are now starting to activate, align to what is best for you. And connecting with your soul star chakra. Opening to all the higher chakras throughout all the suns. And allow this connection through the suns to connect you to the powerful source of creation. This aligns you into the core of Mother Earth, enabling you to become a beacon of light for your heart longing, which is the creation of peace on this planet and beyond. As we are all servants of peace, expansion of love. So we're going to start by holding the soul lines. Allowing the KS to heal, hold, the lines of your soul that connect to your physical body. Calling in your skeletal structure to the bone, the bones, the cranium, spinal column to the spinal nerves, muscular to ligaments, circulatory and lymphatic system to the venous and arterial, heart to lungs, breath to blood, to brain barrier, organ and endocrine system recalibrate, immunity system and blood chemistry upgrade, central nervous system to sympathetic system to parasympathetic system to vagus nerve now, asking for all to be balanced in the Most High now. And so it is. Breathe deeply. Allow this to be anchored through your physical body. Just breathe it through. We're going to harmonize your bioneural inner body chakras, starting with your root chakra. Healing and releasing everything that is blocked, not flowing. Releasing, 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 forgiving, forgiving, forgiving. And now it's activating. Activating, activating, activating your base chakra. Calling in the power of the KES to resolve all genetic templates, past, present, future, throughout all timelines now in your base chakra. And so it is. Going to your sacral chakra, healing and clearing your sacral chakra, allowing it to expand. So you may remove, release, forgive, 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 calling in the grace of God to forgive and release everything that can be released today through your sacral chakra or your miscreations are now released according to what is best for you in this present moment. And now calling in the power of the KES to remove all genetic templates, past, present, and future, throughout all lifetimes. Activating, activating, activating your sacral chakra. Aligning it to your highest potential of what is possible today. Going to your solar plexus, asking it to expand, to release all stuck emotions from mother line, father line, past lives. Just asking to release, 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 to forgive, forgive, forgive. Power of giving back. Releasing, releasing, and releasing. All conscious and unconscious patterns. Calling in now the power of the KES to remove all genetic templates, past, present, and future, throughout all times, throughout all lifetimes. Activating, activating, activating. Now, your solar plexus. And so it is. Going now to your heart chakra and to your physical heart. Expanding, expanding the field. Allowing grace to come into your heart space. To forgive, forgive, forgive. Mother line, father line. This lifetime or lifetimes. Calling in the power of the Christ to remove all genetic templates, past, present, future, throughout all timelines and all lifetimes. Asking this to happen now, healing and releasing, allowing your heart to align to the highest potential possible today according to your heart's yearning to anchor peace on this planet and beyond. As you are being thanked for your devotion, commitment, and faith. It is done now. It is done. Calling in your throat chakra, expanding the field of the throat chakra, asking to release mother, father, lines, past lives, present life, through all time, space, and dimension. Releasing, releasing, releasing all expressions that were not filled with love. Calling in the power of the Christ to remove all genetic templates, past, present, and future, throughout all times, timelines, and all lifetimes. Releasing, releasing the throat, so you may be an expression of your heart in the most benevolent and graceful way. Becoming the expression of the highest love that you can hold. And this is done now. It is done. Going to the third eye, expanding the field of the third eye. Releasing, releasing, releasing. Connecting with mother line, father line. This lifetime, past lifetimes, just forgive. Forgive, forgive, forgive. Call in the grace of God. Calling the grace of God. Calling the grace of God. Clearing your third eye. Calling in now the power of the Christ to remove all genetic templates, past, present, and future, throughout all lifetimes. In your third eye now. Feel it activating, releasing, clearing. Helping you envision peace on earth with clarity. So we may all together create the mission we came for. It is cleared. It is cleared. It is cleared. It is done now. Opening your crown chakra, expanding the field of your crown chakra. Calling in mother line, father line. This lifetime, all lifetimes. Asking to clear, clear, clear. Choose to open, open, open. Release any fear, any doubt. Release anything that comes through your mind. Conscious and unconscious, release, release, release. Open, open, open fully. Calling in the power of the Christ to remove all genetic template, past, present, and future, throughout all timelines. Activating now your crown chakra. Opening through the cleared lines of your soul. Connecting you deeply through the suns to the source of all creation of the One. Allowing this to be done with grace and ease. All comes in divine timing. All is divinely orchestrated. Nothing can be forced. You are protected. And it is done now. So breathe deeply and allow this harmonization of your bioneural pathways to complete in the most benevolent way. We're going to do the rectification to allow us to be in the highest timelines. This group is a 10% deviated. Is it connected to the past? Yes. And to the future. So just breathe in as we call in the Christ energy to rectify, release, and allow us through our pillars of light to be aligned to the highest timeline possible. So we may all together establish peace on earth. And it is done. We're going to clear and align to our monadic constellation, allowing our soul to connect with our oversoul in a more benevolent way, clearing the passageways, calling in the Christ energy for each one of us individually, allowing our personal passageways to be cleared, whatever is possible today. Allowing our soul to activate its connection to its oversoul. So as a group, we may connect through our monads. Allowing this to take place now. And to close today, we're going to call in the sacred sword of the ultraviolet ray, connecting with Ursa Major and the Pleiades through our monadic consciousness, healing and clearing. Our monadic consciousness bringing this ultraviolet sword of light through your core, bringing it all the way down into the crystalline grids of Mother Gaia as this energy transforms, brings back to wholeness, anchors through the beacon of light that you are, the wisdom of truth. And allow this to come through. Just allow the divine intelligence and know that for the next 3 days, every evening, you will be aligning to more truth through your soul, connections through monads as a group constellation that we are. I'm going to now close. Crown chakra is now being sealed with all this benevolent information and holding that has been accomplished. It's now done. Third eye chakra is now being sealed with all this holding session, so you may have more clarity. Your throat chakra is now being sealed with all this benevolent Christic energy, as your expression is connected now to the filaments of your heart, so you may have more loving expressions. Feeling this holding session in the heart and the physical heart, through all the hearts. Allowing Kuan Yin come through with compassion as she delivers in your heart a symbol, a gift of compassion. So you may have compassion for yourself. Breathe it deeply. Allow it to settle as the heart chakra is now sealed, going down to the solar plexus, sealing the solar plexus with all these healing frequencies through the power of love, sealing the Christic energy in your solar plexus, going down to your sacral, sealing this holding session in your sacral chakra. Allowing your creations to be gifts of love in whatever form. Sealing now the base chakra. Allowing the base chakra to be filled with wisdom of truth. Allowing you to step out of illusion at your own space, pace, and divine timing. As grace is gifted, the power of grace is now anchored in your base chakra. Sealing now the link chakra between your knees, allowing your light body pillar to anchor your diamond template to be sealed as you have committed to bring peace on earth. This healing session, KS Christic Energy System holding session, is now complete. Take your time to come back whenever that is. And I thank each one of you as this theme of anchoring peace on earth is what drives me. Thank you for being here with me in this time, on this world, so our dreams may come true. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And now we'll release your fathers and mothers, all your ancestors, as this healing session will also complete for them in the most benevolent way. And so it is.
Thank you very much, Natalie.
My
It's
pleasure.
very, very beautiful. I'm putting into the chat box right now just a little bit about her, including her website, and it's her name. And thank you so much, Natalie, for just gifting us with this beautiful. Into the chat box what you've experienced, any experiences you've had. Lauren writes, thank you for getting up early to give us this wonderful healing session. Carol writes, Natalie, that was wonderful. And for those of you watching on Facebook, Natalie is dedicated to anchor peace in service through love. She is an artist, a writer, a healer, and a mother. And again, you can learn more about her by going to her website. And it's actually a beautiful website where you can really discover a lot about her art. And you can learn all about the sacred codes. I'm going to go there for a moment. And again, people are welcome to put comments in the chat box. But it's the Modern Art Gallery of Switzerland and all about discovering the sacred codes. And here's where you can learn more about this wonderful artist. So thank you very much, Natalie. And the website, for those who can't see it in the chat box, it's her name. I'm going to spell it for you. It's Natalie, spelled Nathlie, Natalie, Nathlie. Her last name is spelled Moutia, Musha. Is that how you pronounce it, Musha?
It's Mutia.
Mutia. Of course, NatalieMutia.com. So thank you so much. More comments have come in. Laura writes, wow, that was so peaceful that I almost fell asleep. A comforting, soothing sleep. Ayada says, feeling peaceful. Ayada is who buried her grandson today. So this is a healing for her. George Noble writes, thank you, Natalie. That was awesome. I could feel it. Terry Russo says, great opening. So I will post on our YouTube channel Natalie's healing as its own separate YouTube link. It'll be up tomorrow, and I'll send it to you, Natalie, and I'll put it in the
Thank you.
Ray thread. So if people want to
Thank you.
experience this again and again, they can do so. Right?
Beautiful. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah, and I love that we've got 36 Zoom roomers. Most everybody stayed with us, even Jennifer Hill from her bedroom. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to go to gallery view one last time for people to wave goodbye and see each other. You can turn on your cameras if you wish. There, and there's Linda McCabe and Diara and Dia and Christy and Ayada and Terry and Sylvia. So greetings, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful Sacred Sunday tomorrow. And I'll put this up on the YouTube link tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
Much love.